What up, what up, what up? Welcome into the Full Coverage Football Show. The future is now, kids. It is time. We are here. It is the NFL draft. It is the future. If you're a team out there that needs help, this is the night to get it. Teams have spent months and months and months working up to this night. Kids have worked their entire lives to build up to this night. And it is finally here, and we thank you for letting us be a part of your night. My name is Jeremy. That's my boy, Drew. Drew, how you doing tonight, brother? You draft?
I'm doing good, dude. I'm ready to get into this little draft talk. Listen, you want to talk about people that have dreamt their whole life. The Lions have dreamt their entire lives of trying to become better with the draft. It hasn't worked. Maybe tonight's the night. How are you, my friend?
Brother, I can't complain. And this is a perfect night for your boys to get better because they got 2 picks, number 2 and number 32. The scene from Vegas is insane, by the way, if you're watching on TV and not just watching us. Have both. Split screen for us, and I don't know where I just went, but I don't even know if you can hear me. My camera just disappeared here.
I can hear you, brother. I can hear you.
Hey, as long as you can hear me, that's really all that matters. My face is pretty and all, but we don't need the face as much. All right? We'll try that again in a second here. But for those of you watching right now, check out our mock drafts here. Drew's is on the left, I believe. Mine is on the right. You can see most of the picks there. I will try to pull them up a little higher here so you can see them. This is Drew's here. This is mine over here.
Actually, do me a favor when you can.
Drew's. Yes, sir.
Email me the link.
Right.
I can't copy it on Twitter. I want to blast it out to the good folks at home.
You know what? You can just retweet mine. I did just send out the link if you want to just blast it out there.
Yeah, let me
comment.
Just
it looks like I posted 2 of yours, but here's Drew's mock draft. Let me get back in here. Let me see if I can get my camera to start working again.
So what's going on, dude? What are we expecting here? First pick. I mean, I realize that what is this going to be? Trayvon Walker? What are we thinking?
I'm thinking it is Trayvon Walker.
So what led up to Trayvon Walker being the first pick in the NFL draft when essentially there's a big hole in my ceiling that we can see. Let's look it down a little bit.
Hey, Mike, I sat with the background. I said I wasn't going to do it, and then I sat with the green screen. Then all of a sudden the green screen's like, you know what? We're not going to do this tonight. Now I just look like an idiot sitting in front of a green rug on my wall.
I decided to take an edible.
Yeah.
Get ready for this thing. Here's the deal, man. How did Trayvon Walker... Hang on.
Before we get into that, we got to talk about the edible. We got plenty of time to talk about Trayvon Walker. How long is this thing going to kick in, and how are you going to feel once it kicks in?
Well, it's necessarily whether I take the other one.
Okay.
Now, to kind of break down how this edible will kick in, which is what the people want to know. Absolutely. I'm really unsure, to be honest with you. I've not been smoking the drugs as much, the marijuana as much as I used to in the past. So I do think that there's a potential that it hits me harder than it normally would. I'm thinking somewhat around pick 12, pick 14. Let's just take the second one now.
Hit it.
Pick 12, pick 14 is where we're probably starting to feel in good vibes, and I start like screaming like some random name.
Are you going to be screaming for the Lions to trade up to draft Sam Howell at 13?
I will not be screaming for that exact situation. I will be screaming for the Lions to trade up potentially at some point. But for now, I'm just happy to be here, to be honest with you. Just to jump into draft talk and out my edible consumption. Trayvon Walker. What did Trayvon Walker do between the end of the season and let's be honest, the way Georgia's defense was historic, right? And I don't want to kind of push that aside. But for a guy that had 6 sacks on that defense, for him to jump a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau and a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, what in your mind, outside of running his underwear, did he do to even deserve this pick? And is this just the Jaguars just doing Jaguars things?
No, going into the draft, into the offseason prep for the draft, I had Trayvon Walker as a top 15 pick. I usually wait until about the week before to drop my players who I think the top 32 players are, which I did on our Substack page just the other day. Now, when I look at Trayvon Walker, the things he does well, he's strong at the line of scrimmage, very strong and stout, does not get pushed around a lot. Where he struggles there is the fact that a lot of the times he plays high and his leverage isn't great, which is why he struggles in the pass game. But if you watch the game, the national title game against Alabama, he had 7 pressures. Now, a lot of that was thanks to that defensive scheme, but what they do with him is they move him around a lot. Now, let me pull up my notes here real quick. What the NFL loves, we know more than anything, is what? Traits over production. It's always the traits. What can a guy do for you? Trayvon Walker is elite change of direction. For a guy at 6'5", 275 pounds, he moves more nimble than some of the corners and wide receivers that you will go tonight. He's elite against the run, which is the biggest thing I thought Aiden Hutchinson did, and the reason I had him over Thibodeau for the Jaguars at number 1. But when you have a guy who can move inside, he can bounce outside with elite change of direction. What he can do playing across from a guy like Josh Allen is probably bigger than what Aiden Hutchinson can possibly do playing across from him. It may be the fact that they balance each other out, but I think Trayvon Walker's deserve to move up for the reasons that I said there with the change of direction. However, the pass rush moves, they're not there. The fact that he plays high, not good. But if you have a guy that you can teach, if he shows he's teachable, he can be the best player in this draft. That's how talented he is. And of course, the Underwear Olympics were a huge part of it, where he ran a 4.5. He jumped out of his mind. And when you look at the Jaguars defense, you got what? Clavon Chason, who wasn't very good playing across from Josh Allen.
I'm surprised. Like I literally out of college at LSU, I thought that he was going to be kind of that dude.
Same.
And so listen, I've been wrong before and I'll be wrong again. To me, it just seems like if this is the pick and Uncle Roger's at the podium, maybe
Hey, Rod.
he's going to put down a Deshaun Watson punishment right here. We just don't know.
He did come out and say that they are taking things very seriously and not to expect anything tonight.
4 years later, he did? Good for him.
I mean, how long? We've been doing this show for 3 years. And for 2 years now on this show, I've at least brought up probably once a show, hey, Raj, how we doing? And I was thinking about just busting out a Hey, Raj t-shirt for tonight, but I didn't have time to stop and have someone make it for me. But Raj, we got to get this done. And I know he's got to send out to a former court justice, and they're going with that. Eventually, this comes down as a 6-game suspension, and then they're probably going to appeal it to 4. And now we got Ice Cube coming up.
I mean, people are questioning the Ice Cube thing.
What are we doing with the cube up on there? I mean,
I'm putting some stuff out here on the Twitter streets real quick. No, I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you.
No, did you do you, bud, over there? Let me talk about the Jaguars and why Trayvon Walker makes sense for them. Clavon Chason, 47.0 PFF grade. Now, PFF isn't the end-all, be-all. I know that. But this is a guy who played on a defense across from Josh Allen, who was absolutely dominant and led the Jags, who were a terrible team. They were coached awful, to a win over the better Josh Allen on offense in a game they didn't deserve to be in, yet they won that game because of how good Josh Allen is on defense. So you need a guy across from him who can not only work with him, but pick up the run game where Josh Allen does struggle. And inside, you got Robertson Harris, you got Arden Key, who was there at times. Arden Key, okay player, solid player. You're going to have these guys play inside in your base and maybe in your nickel, but you're going to want to go in the 34 at this defense. It seems that's the way that they're leaning there. So you get a guy who is scheme diverse, has traits over production, which the NFL loves, and that's why Trayvon Walker could likely be the pick. Now, at the end of the day, is that the right pick? I don't know. If it was me, I'm keeping my guy upright because, yes, you signed Cam Robinson to a 3-year, $54 million deal. But on the right side, you got Jawan Taylor, who's in his 4th year, final year of his rookie deal, and he hasn't been great. He has not been good at all. Why not get another guy who can keep your franchise quarterback upright and help make holes for a guy you picked last year in the first round at pick 25 in Travis Etienne? And the Jags are officially on the clock. We got 9.5 minutes left to find out who this pick is. And I hate the fact that this is going to go down to 2 minutes left before the pick's in because you've had 4 months to get this pick in. Drew,
And the talks were already there, right?
Yeah.
That's my thing, right? Like, let's not act like Jacksonville hasn't been on the phone. Like, it's not like this is a tampering thing.
No.
Jacksonville wasn't able to talk to anybody up until this pick right here.
True. I got him listed as needing offensive line, defensive line, and linebacker help.
I mean, Urban did a great job there last year, really kind of putting the roster together. Let's be honest, if Travis Etienne wasn't a disaster of a pick, regardless of how it plays out, let's talk about the way that the NFL is structured, right? You don't make that pick, especially with the roster that Jacksonville had. Just for me, I just find it extremely interesting if Trayvon Walker is the pick, and I believe both you and I believe that that's going to be the case. Yeah. And let's not act like Trayvon Walker was always the pick, right? And we talk a lot about how the cycle of the draft happens, right? Like originally, like Kayvon Thibodeau was the guy, right? He was the number one pick. Then Aiden Hutchinson had a great year, so it was Aiden. And then now all of a sudden you hear, oh, Malik Willis is driving up your draft boards, which I think that we can end up seeing Malik Willis slip all the way down the draft board. And I think that you probably agree with me from that perspective.
I mean, I haven't been huge on Malik Willis. I think he's a very good player, but this is a guy who's probably faster version of Jordan Love.
Let's put this thing out. I was just having some supper with a couple of my friends, having some cocktails. Is Baker Mayfield better than any single quarterback in this draft?
Baker Mayfield and Jimmy G. I would take either guy over any guy in this draft right now.
Okay.
But it also comes down to the fact that we've mentioned what? You want what you know rather than the mystery box. Now, can these kids be good? Absolutely. And there's a great chance that some of these guys are better. But if you have a team that you think is decent, then you go for the guy who is the known product. I mean, why not trade a third for Jimmy G and build a team in your first few picks? I mean, it makes sense to me to do that. Plus, when I look at the kids in this draft, and the people are talking about, oh, why are the Texans not one of those teams that need a quarterback? Well, think about it. Davis Mills, if he was in this draft, where would Davis Mills be ranked in this draft? Exactly. I think if he went back, I think he would be one of the top quarterbacks talked about in this draft.
Probably the top quarterback.
There's definitely a shot at it.
Listen, and I get the Sam Howell traits. Like, I think Sam Howell has the traits. Like, if I were to pick a quarterback right now that could start for my team come September, it'd be Sam Howell. It would not be Malik Willis.
Sam Howell's my number one quarterback.
And he should be. And listen, and that is not me diminishing Malik Willis's upside because I get it. It's 8:14 at this point. There hasn't been a pick taken. We're already 4 minutes behind pace here. Goodell, get it together. But like, again, how are we reaching? Are we reaching?
I think you will be reaching if you go too high for a quarterback in this draft. But I understand it because it's the most important position in all of sports. Now, the team on the clock right now, thankfully, they got their quarterback last year.
Yeah, maybe.
We think in Trevor Lawrence. He was supposed to be the greatest quarterback since Andrew Luck?
Yeah.
And think about how crazy this is. We're so used to knowing who the number one pick is. I think 2018 was the last time where we weren't 100% sure who the number one pick was going to be coming into the draft. Now, by the time 7 o'clock came around, it was out that Baker Mayfield was going to be that guy. And we're talking 4 years ago, as I get twangy there. We're talking 4 years ago, Baker Mayfield was out. He's had, a year and a half of good play?
Yeah, I think, to your point, Jeremy, is this draft seems to be, in my recent memory, one that's kind of completely up in the air.
Yeah.
I think there's potentially only 15 to 20 first round players in this draft. Of course, 32 will be selected. But when I say that, I don't mean that there's the 15 aren't potentially elite, right? I do think that there's those kind of playmaker game changers in this draft. I just think for me, it's like when I look at it from a quarterback perspective, right? Like when you're at the top of the board, right? When you're 1, 2, 3, usually you're a shitty team that needs a quarterback.
Yep.
And of course, Jacksonville does not need a quarterback. Detroit, you could argue needs a quarterback. And then we go to Houston, which you could argue needs a quarterback as well. However, are any of these quarterbacks even guys that you would consider in the top 3, and absolutely they're not. So, and even when we're on a normal year, and I do see the pick is in here in Jacksonville, even in a normal year, you reach for guys at quarterback at the top of the draft. I just don't see the guys you even reach for here, right? Like
No.
if we were to put this draft up against the 2019 draft, none of these guys would be drafted until the end of the second or the third round.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is, in my opinion.
There is a chance that these kids can balance out to be pretty good.
Sure.
But the talk of Kenny Pickett at 6, I just don't see it. Maybe it happens. Maybe we're wrong. And maybe it's media driven that this is, the way it's got to go. But for me, it just doesn't make sense for how the Panthers want to build that team. Why spend all this money on building, DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey? You've built this young stud defense. You've got the pieces in place. You tried to trade for Sam Darnold last year. You tried Teddy Bridgewater the year before. They didn't work out. Now you're going to bring in a rookie with a coach that you're not 100% sure of what you're going to get.
And that's the point. If Matt Rule decides to roll the dice, that's his job on the line.
That's why
the other problem is, Jeremy, is he doesn't have the time to watch it and make it work. Right.
Exactly.
And there's no quarterback in this draft that's going to step in and immediately be successful, in my opinion. So if they decide to go quarterback at 6, that is literally Matt Rule saying, hey, this is my last year. If this shit doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out.
Yep.
And I just don't think that that's a risk that they're willing to take at this point. And here comes Raj up to the podium. Do you expect this to be Trayvon Walker as I do?
I do. And I think it makes sense to a certain extent because but what it takes is they have to make sure they work with the kid and they use him to his skill set. Don't force him in and say, you're our edge rusher now in our 34.
Yeah, and it was Trayvon Walker. So pick is in. Jacksonville Jaguars, 1-1, select Trayvon Walker. And so this is where the draft gets interesting to me, right?
It should get interesting. You're rocking a Lions jersey with them on the clock right now.
Yeah, that's true. And the guy they're going to take is not necessarily the guy that I want, but I don't hate the pick. Just to touch on Trayvon Walker for a second. Again, only 6 sacks in what was potentially the best defense that we've seen in a decade.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to. You mentioned something earlier that I found interesting is the pressure numbers, and I think the pressure numbers go under noticed. Right? Everybody wants to say, "Hey, sacks here." Pressures are just as important, in my opinion, and he got those. What we talked about on the Full Coverage Football Show just a couple weeks ago was I brought up the win rate on pass rushing attempts. And when we saw, and I think I mentioned that Aiden Hutchinson was at 33, Kayvon Thibodeau was at 31, and Trayvon Walker was at 11. And you might say, okay, Drew, you're just throwing out bullshit analytics, and that's fine. If you want to have that opinion, that's fine. You certainly can. But win rate's important to me. And I know it was in the SEC, but let's not diminish the Big Ten or the Pac-12. And I say that with kind of a grain of salt because I think we can diminish Pac-12 to an extent. But like for me, that win rate's important. And I just find it interesting. And it's based off athleticism alone that Trayvon Walker has jumped up to be this first pick. Based off that win rate, right? Like I want guys that are winning and getting off the football on third downs in pass rushing situations. And that just wasn't Trayvon Walker. And you could argue, hey, he had 6 sacks, but he was playing on the best defense in the last decade. So other guys were getting theirs. But I could argue that he played on the best defense in 10 years. So he should have more production than he actually does at his position off the edge.
Now, if you look at him as a pure edge rusher, those are the stats you really need. But if they're going to properly use him as a guy who is a chess piece so you can move all around the defense, allow him to use his stout leverage to basically help shut down the run and allow Josh Allen to be that guy who's your full-time edge rusher, and then he picks up the slack or he gets those pressures and pushes them towards Josh Allen, then it works out. But if they decide to say, hey, we want you both sprinting towards the quarterback, it's never going to work because he does not have the pass rush moves, the arm power. For a guy who's so strong, when he hits the lineman in the chest, they don't move as well. He can bust between, he can get skinny and go between the A gap. He can split the A gap, he can split the B gap. But as far as going around a guy, he's never worked that well. He doesn't have the bend, but this
Hey,
can work out.
tip of the cap to the Lions for already having the pick in. We love
Fantastic.
that. We
Is it
respect
Aiden
that.
Hutchinson?
Yeah. So just to jump on to the Lions, it's going to be the Aiden Hutchinson. I prefer Kayvon Thibodeau in this position. I think Aiden Hutchinson is the safer of the two picks. For me, here's the deal, right? Like, I get the hometown hero, Aiden Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be upset when that is the selection here. I just think when we're talking about upside, I think Kayvon Thibodeau has that upside, right?
I love
we talked
Thibodeau.
about the win rate. They're very similar as far as a pass rush and win rate. I just think that Kayvon has more tools in the bag, and there is Aiden Hutchinson being the pick.
Aiden Hutchinson reminds me of TJ Watt coming out. I think he's
that's
the guy you can
very,
eventually stand
very
up.
lofty of a standard for you right there.
No, I'm saying standing. I mean, coming out where he was picked at what, 30?
You're correct.
Tells you about this draft as well.
Yeah, and this is just a super safe pick. I don't hate it at all. I think for one, this is going to ignite the city of Detroit. Right? It's going to ignite the city of Detroit. It really is. It's a hometown guy that the fans are going to buy jerseys of. Ticket sales are going to go up. Again, this is the safe pick, and I'm okay with it, right? Like, I'm okay with it. Through this draft process, we didn't expect Aiden Hutchinson to be available. We thought he was going one.
Yeah.
Do I think Aiden Hutchinson is a better player and a better immediately than Trayvon Walker? I certainly do.
I agree with that.
And
right
so
now,
I think that this is a good pick for the Lions. But also keep in mind, he had 14 sacks last year, but his production prior to that was literally minuscule, right? And he was playing next to David Njagbo, which is also a significant thing when you have another guy on the edge that can get after the pass rusher and makes your job easier. And you could vice versa that having Aiden on the edge makes the job easier. I'm not going to sit here and bitch about the Aiden Hutchinson play or the pick. I would potentially rather have Kayvon Thibodeau, but this is a good pick for the Detroit Lions at a position that they certainly needed. And I just don't have any bad things to say about it.
I don't think there's anything bad you can say about this pick. I mean, it was the number one overall player, it seemed, from the time he threw the offensive tackle for Ohio State, whose name is going out of my head right now, until he basically landed a guy who was a top 3-round pick on his ass with one hand. Yeah, he came on this year, but that's exactly what TJ Watt did. They came on late. They learned their craft. They were coached up. They learned well. And now you got a guy who not only has those pass rush moves, but he's also stout against the run. So what Trayvon Walker does is really, right now, he stops the run. He's not a great edge rusher. Aiden Hutchinson can do both for you. And he can stand up. I think he's a guy who can easily stand up and play outside backer as your edge blitzer without a problem. What this does for the Detroit Lions, when you look at their defense, I mean, you got Harris, Brockers, Okwara, you got those guys already. This just brings another guy in who can do a little bit of everything, especially in the nickel. I think he's a guy who can even stand up in the nickel. You can put him down in base. You can put him down in nickel. You can make him stand up. I mean, McNeil played pretty well last year. What they've done in the past 2 years in Detroit is really rebuild that defense with some youth to add to the guy they drafted a few years ago in Jeffrey Okudah. And can Okudah bounce back and be the guy and really bring this defense all together? And now we got the Texans on the clock who basically need everything.
Yeah.
Their pick is in. You have them taking Ike Ekwonu out of North Carolina State. I've got them taking Sauce Gardner. This is where our mock drafts go different a little bit.
It didn't take long, right? It didn't take long. Here's the deal, dude. I think Sauce Gardner probably my favorite outside of Thibodeau player in this draft. A pick is in for the Texans. Let's go. I love how they're putting their face in here. I think that for the Texans, to your point, they have so many different options and so many different avenues that they can go because the roster is a shit show.
Yeah.
Sauce Gardner makes sense, but so does bolstering up the offensive line.
Basically, anything they do here can make sense.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a pick that they could make here outside of taking a quarterback that I would be against at this point, right?
I'm with you. This is a team. This is a fun team. This is the kind of team you want in Madden, where you can just do anything with because there's no one spot where you're like, yeah, that's the guy. I mean, they got Brandon Cooks, okay, solid player. They've got Davis Mills, who we both said would probably be one of the top quarterbacks, if not the top quarterback in this draft. Right. But outside of that, it's an ugly roster. I mean, you got Nico Collins, you've got Laramie Tunsil, who, hey, I know you're big in the NFTs.
Dude, did you see that shit? He sold a 1-of-1 NFT of him smoking the gas mask, the bong. What was going on here? I'm losing my...
Now we can't see Drew.
All right, I'm coming back. I'm coming back, guys.
He's coming back. But, I mean, you look at their offensive line, it's terrible. You look at their weapons, not great. Rex Burkhead's your starting running back, but you don't take a running back here, obviously. They got Desmond King. I mean, they've got a few guys who are okay. Their edge guys are all right. They could draft safety. This could be Kyle Hamilton. You could almost do anything right now with the Houston Texans because they need help everywhere. And they have a chance to get good because they just picked up 3 first-round picks in the Deshaun Watson trade, along with some other pieces. And, of course, those picks are nice, but you did just lose Deshaun Watson, who I don't know if you know this.
But they never had Deshaun Watson.
He's really, really good. No, they haven't for the past 2 years. Jeez. They have not had him.
So, and that's the thing. So, like, again, picks in. Derek Stingley Jr. is a reach. It's a fucking reach at 3. That's Derek a reach. Stingley
was the top cornerback in this draft for most of the time. What he did his freshman year at LSU was absolutely unbelievable. And then he started dealing with injuries. Can he overcome those injuries that he had and go back to what he was as a true freshman at LSU when they won the national title? If he would have came out as a true freshman, he was so good that year, he would have been a first-round pick as a true freshman. Plus, this kid worked every day against Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. He's basically a guy who compares similarly to D'Angelo Hall. He's long, he's lean, he's quick, his hips are smooth and fluid. He can do almost everything, but he has to show that he cares enough to bounce back and be that guy.
I have a rule. You don't draft a corner in the top 5. That's my rule.
Okay.
You don't draft a corner in the top 5.
Patrick Peterson was top 5. Did that one work out?
Okay.
I had to go back pretty far.
You want to go through? You want to go talk about Jeff Okudah? I mean,
Jeff Okudah hasn't worked out.
Your point is the outlier, in my opinion, and I'm not saying that you're wrong.
It was the first one that popped in my head. I'm like, I got to come up with something. I couldn't go all the way back to Dion.
And I will make this point that I think this league's becoming more 7-on-7, right? Yeah. So I think that DBs and safeties and quickness at linebacker are certainly important. Sauce Gardner is the best corner in this draft. If you're going to take a corner, you take Sauce Gardner. And the guy gave up. I understand. Don't give me, Drew, the SEC. I don't give a shit about the argument. SEC. Okay, I don't care. Sauce Gardner's never gave it up in a touchdown his entire career.
No.
And let's not act like Cincinnati played against a bunch of bums, right? Like Cincinnati played teams. I just think for me, this is the Texans being the Texans, right? Like, what is that? I like Derek Stingley. I think I had him going in the 17th round. Let me take a look.
You had him going.
I had him going number 9.
I had him going number 9. I actually had him going 11.
Yeah. So
I thought this was Sauce Gardner's spot the whole day. I thought this was a spot where a corner would go. I just expected to be Sauce. And maybe we all talked ourselves into Sauce because for me, Stingley was the guy going into the draft process that was the number 1 guy. Now, Sauce is amazing. And yes, he gave up no touchdowns. But I don't think you could have gone wrong with any pick here. And Derek Stingley, maybe it's too high for a corner. You don't like it in the top 5. I understand that because most time it doesn't work out. And even in the top 10, it seems like a lot of guys haven't worked out from knowing Cleveland Browns football the way it hasn't worked out.
Our teams will be like, oh, you can't take a punter here? Fucking listen to us. Listen,
hey, punt guy Matt Arrieta still available.
And I think Derek Stingley's a really, really good player. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, is he the best corner on the board? I am going with Sauce Gardner all day long. And that's just me. Like, I've been wrong. Remember, I sat here 3 years ago and said how I mean, listen, Justin Herbert was going to be terrible. Yeah. And I look like an asshole, right? And that's just the way it's going to be. I'm gonna take a firm stance on something, and this is one of it that's a bad pick.
But the
It
thing
only
we
took
do
me
here that I
3
love,
picks to get fired up. 3 picks.
the thing that we do here that I love is the fact that we always say, hey, you know what? We missed this one. We'll gladly admit it when we're wrong.
Oh, sure.
What's great right now is that Sauce is sitting there going, oh, you want to pass me up? You want to take someone who's better than me? It's going to put an extra chip on his shoulder coming out of Cincinnati. Let's see what that does for him. So now we got the New York Jets who got picks 4 and 10.
And so
For me,
this is where I had Sauce going.
yeah,
So now we pivot. Now we
you got
pivot.
Sauce going here. I
What are you
had
what are you feeling here?
this is a pick where I think the best thing for them to do is make your head coach happy. This is Kayvon Thibodeau for me. Get the edge guy. Yeah, you got Carl Lawson who didn't really play. You got Franklin Myers. I get that. But adding one more guy into that, I think can be an absolute game changer because you got that pick at number 10. Right now, you get that edge guy. You get the dude you
And then
need,
go grab your receiver.
and then grab your receiver at number
Yeah.
10.
I don't
Or
disagree with grabbing the receiver.
or maybe grab your corner, another corner. But
What if they add to the offensive line here?
I'm not bad with that. What I have right now, they need offensive line,
Everything.
defensive back, edge, and wide receiver. I think they can go almost anywhere. Now,
And I think you and I agree to this point.
Mhm.
You just if you load up on fat guys if you can, right? We
Yeah.
agree with fat that you win in this league with fat guys and the guy under
Mhm.
center. That's it.
Yep.
Everybody else is replaceable to an extent.
You want your left tackle or your right tackle, depending on what hand your quarterback's throwing with. You want your edge rusher, which they've got some edge rushers. You want that shutdown corner. They've got some okay corners. They can get help there.
I think that they could go tackle here.
I think this pick says what they think about Mekhi Becton.
Well, even they can roll over to right because I think Mekhi Becton and you and I talked about this last year. Actually, we didn't because I was drunk, passed out after the third pick. But we talked prior to the draft. Mekhi Becton is a force to be reckoned with if he is healthy and he's playing. Because I don't even care about anything else. That guy's an immovable obstruction, right? That guy's like a fucking concrete post on the side of the road, right? So there's no doubt in my mind Mekhi Becton can play left tackle. I understand.
He was bad last year, though, and he dealt with injuries.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was banged up most of the season.
Okay,
but I think for me, like they definitely need their wide receiver, right? They like you have to get Zach Wilson some weapons, but I think here you bolster up the line because nobody's going to snag a wide receiver before you at 10 outside of maybe Atlanta.
And I'm with you on that. If they go offensive lineman, I love Evan Neal. I think he's the best lineman in this draft. But if they go offensive lineman, I think it's got to be Ike Ekwonu because I think Ekwonu, not only can he play left tackle, but you can move him in. I think he is a stud caliber guard at some point. But you usually don't want to guard this high.
In my opinion, than Evan Neal. Would you agree
Evan
with
Neal
that?
can probably play guard really well, but I think Evan Neal is a stout tackle, and that's where you want to leave him.
And problem is like you don't draft a guy at 4 to be a guard.
No.
Right,
but
like you're a tackle or you're not. Like we're not drafting an offensive
top
lineman.
10 pick really lets you say, hey, we think this guy's not going to be there later. We can really help ourselves and move one of these guys inside if it comes down to it and really bolster up that backside of our quarterback. Why not? Why not do that?
All right, so who are we going here? Who are you going here?
I am going to go with Ike Ekwonu or you know what? I'm sticking with my mock. Give me Kayvon Thibodeau.
Wow. Is all I
Give
gotta say.
Kayvon.
Look at the pick.
Of course, Drew lives in the future.
What is going on with this pick? Tell me what's going on with this pick right here.
Sauce Gardner?
Yes.
Sauce Gardner fits. They needed a corner. I had it as one of their needs. I mean, you look at who they got. Right now, sitting outside, they've got Bryce Hall, who is okay. Bryce Hall, solid player. On the other side, across from him, you got DJ Reed Jr., who is okay, solid player. So right here, you got your shutdown corner in a division that you got to face Josh Allen.
Oh, I agree.
And then, I mean, Tua and Mac Jones, maybe they turn into stuff that is really good. But here's Sauce going, hey, I got taken one pick behind Derek Stingley. I'm going to prove that I'm better than him. Because I think that's a kind of moxie that Sauce Gardner has. And at 6'2", 3/4, 190 pounds, he's a big, strong, lean kid who can do a little bit of everything. And he reminds me so much of Richard Sherman in his
by the way,
size.
I'm 3 for 4.
You are.
So
you're that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, but I mean, I told you I was going to get like 30 to 32 of these right. So it adds up.
So what do you like? What do you like about this pick? Are
Well,
you
I
down
think
with it?
oh, I love the pick.
Okay.
I love the pick. I didn't expect I mocked the Jets to take this pick, but I didn't expect him to be here. I guess I thought Houston would pull the trigger or at least go with an offense. I thought they would go with the offensive lineman. If they took a corner, I was shocked that would be Stingley. Right? That's again, I'm still shocked by that entire thing. But like let's talk about the playoff game and how he was elite in the playoff game against an SEC team. Right? The guy literally allowed nothing. They wouldn't even throw his way. The entire year they wouldn't throw his way. And you don't see that often. And again, I'm not looking for huge interception numbers because I think essentially interception numbers are basically like a gift, and they're an unquiet, like you can't quantify them as being that important.
Up a ton of yards.
Yeah, our guy, the guy gives up more yards than any corner in the league,
over 1,000 yards.
Not named Buster Screen, and the dude and he gets 10 picks.
Whoa!
And all of a sudden he's great.
You're bringing up Browns legend Buster Screen in this?
Yeah, listen, that guy's got worked. But again,
what was the longest completion that Sauce gave up last year?
I would say 18 yards.
13 yards.
Okay. I mean, that's again, like, do you think there's anything into the fact that like once you establish a name for yourself, that like teams will just not throw at you?
Yeah. And that's what you want. You want a guy who's shutting down an entire side of the field.
Yeah, but at the NFL level, is that's no longer a thing until you prove it.
No, it's not. And I think they're going to put Stephon Diggs on him day one when they play against the Bills, and they're going to test him until he proves that he can carry what he did in college on.
Yeah,
but
any like best name in the draft for sure.
Oh, one of the best for sure.
Sauce. Like I'm rooting. Like he's my favorite player in this draft. I think. Yeah. See, and this is just disrespectful for NFL Network to throw up a thing with Okudah being the third pick. Sean Springs, Bruce Pickens was the third pick in 91. Any knowledge or insight on Bruce Pickens and how well he did at corner?
I don't remember much about Bruce Pickens, but I do know Sean Springs was a hell of a football player.
All right. Well, yes.
And now we got the Giants on the clock. We're staying in New York.
Yes.
The Giants need offensive line help, I think.
Yeah, this is the Charles Cross pick for me. He's been rumored to them the whole time.
Linebacker.
Who are you taking?
Offensive line,
I don't have your mock in front of me.
Let me pull my mock up here. My mock fell off our screen. I'll put your mock back up on the screen, though.
I'm 3 for 4. I mean, it's pretty much the perfect
hitting it pretty damn good.
I don't know what else to say to the people.
My mock is somewhere trapped in my computer here, and I don't want to mess with anything. But my mock, who did I have? Oh, I got Ike Ekwonu going to them.
Okay.
And I mean, we're both thinking, okay, makes sense. They need linemen. They need to figure out what Daniel Jones is. They decided, hey, we're gonna pick up your option.
Dude, stop.
This is a team I could
just stop.
How
many touchdowns did the wide receivers have for the New York Giants last year?
Almost as many as Sauce Gardner gave up.
They just paid Kenny Golladay $4 trillion. How many touchdowns does he have?
0.
Okay. So what the hell is the issue? Who the hell is throwing the ball to him? And now they're shopping Kadarius Toney. They're shopping Kadarius Toney, is what I've read.
Do you believe that's actually happening?
I mean, I don't know. Yes, I do, because what are they doing? What are they even doing?
Bringing up Kadarius Toney brings up, I wish I would have thought about it. Trayvon Walker, one of my favorite plays he had at Georgia, was chasing down Kadarius Toney on a jet sweep. I mean, that shows what kind of athlete that guy is. But this pick is in. The Giants are on. This is the New York part of the draft where you're like Giants again.
I'm going to allow you to like say who the selection is because I'm ahead of you, and I don't want to ruin that for you.
No, it's cool either way. You can announce all the picks.
Is it though? Is it though? There's some Karen clapping. She's pumped for the Giants pick. Oh, there. Who is this child? Who is this guy? Who is this kid that's trying to pump the crowd up? I don't even know who this guy is.
I don't know, but it looks like he's having a great time. He kind of
Oh,
looks
whatever.
like
Who is he though? You can't just have a great time. There's got to be a reason.
I don't know.
Like, what are you there for?
Pump him up.
I don't like this guy at all. I don't like him
Probably
at
got
all.
some horrible disease, and we're like,
No,
we don't like
no,
this guy.
100%. That's exactly the thought that was in my mind. I'm going to find out he has uncurable cancer tomorrow, and I'm going to feel like an asshole.
No, it's like,
But
all right.
until then, oh, he's all fired up. Come on, get this guy out of here. Get him out of here. Oh, he's dapping up Goodell. Oh, he's making the pick. Christ, you're right. Make-A-Wish recipient. God damn it, Drew. Man, God damn it, Drew. Why? Why do I say
this
stuff?
original Karate Kid lookalike is having a great time.
Kayvon
Announcing the
Thibodeau.
picks for the Giants.
There's the pick. Sorry.
It's Kayvon Thibodeau.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Kayvon Thibodeau is a great pick for them. Edge out of Oregon. For most of this draft process, he was my number one overall player until Kyle Hamilton jumped him, just because Kyle Hamilton is such a freak. And I don't expect Kyle Hamilton to even possibly go top 10. Now, 7 sacks last year, 12 tackles for loss. He was a unanimous All-American in 2021. But the thing is, he played on a defense where he was the guy. They knew exactly what to expect from him. He missed the game against Ohio State, yet somehow they won that game. Let's not bring that back up. And this suit he's got on.
If you can get to the outside on Ohio State last year, what do you mean? They ran the same play for an entire game and tore.
And it was all defense that gave it up for Ohio State. What do we think about the drip here, the fit?
I am not one to speak on drip. I think he's got a nice suit on, but he threw some shit on to make him look like an idiot. What is the red stuff around the?
Is the bedazzle part? Is this part of the suit?
There's no way that his wife was hot glue gunning those bedazzles on last night. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I'm not a drip guy. Like, I can't speak to what's good and bad, like drip. But like for me, I feel like you wasted like probably a couple $1,000 suit to look like you're heading into a Valentine's Day dinner with your wife.
Okay.
Oh my God. He's doing handshakes with Goodell. Oh Lord.
This kid off the edge though is unbelievable. The best pure pass rusher in this draft.
Look at when you see that my guy, my dude that was shit talking, he's fired up, dude. I mean, that's a great pick. Listen, I'm sorry that I just went off and just walked through what was happening there, but that's a good pick. That's a real good pick. Listen, I think his ceiling is the highest off any edge in this draft. I think Aiden Hutchinson is going to be a productive football player, right? I think he's going to be a good football player. I think this guy's upside is higher than Aiden Hutchinson.
This is 2 years in a row they've gone, with a first-round pick edge rusher. Last year was Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia. Georgia just throwing out defensive players year after year.
Georgia, essentially every player in this draft is a Georgia player.
And now you put him on a defensive line that's got, just studs. You got Dexter Lawrence. You got Leonard Williams. These are all first-round pick kind of guys who have all shown at a time that they're worth that first-round pick.
Right.
Now, Ojulari is still obviously coming along, and Thibodeau hasn't done anything, but that's a pretty damn good front four. Now, as we come to their 7th pick,
that's where they go grab Charles Cross. Listen, here's the deal.
Charles Cross is a guy I have thought fits here, but there's still every offensive lineman on the board.
Yeah, so this is where I had Evan Neal pegged, but like now that Iquanu is still on the board, it's like, well, what do we do here? I feel like if Charles Cross is the pick at 7, if he's not, I will. Well, I'm not gonna shave my head or anything, so I guess I won't do shit. But I'm saying that Charles Cross is the pick.
I think Charles Cross could be the pick there. I could also see them. Maybe that's where Kyle Hamilton makes sense, because when you look at, they got McKinney and then they've got Julian Love, who Julian Love was okay last year. I mean, decent. He was better his rookie year, but he's just a guy. So why not put Kyle Hamilton in there and really have a 3-level defense where
I love it.
You got Blake Martinez as your middle linebacker. He's okay, but you're going to be playing a lot of nickel. Kyle Hamilton can come down in nickel, play against the slot. He can blitz. He can do a little bit of everything. But before we get to that, we got the pick 6, which is the Carolina Panthers. I got them needing quarterback and offensive line. They need help at quarterback because Sam Darnold, let's just face it, at this point, Sam Darnold is a bust.
Disrespectful.
Am I wrong?
Hearsay.
He's not saying I'm not wrong, and I'm just going to go with that right now. They need a quarterback. They need offensive linemen. A lot of people have put Kenny Pickett here. Drew's got Evan Neal going here. I got to pull up. I think I had Charles Cross going here.
Yeah, so I think
got Charles Cross going here.
I think we're again in the same stratosphere. We think they're bolstering the offensive line here.
Yeah,
I originally for a long time throughout the draft process thought Kenny Pickett was going here, but I just don't think that's the case. I think there's just other needs on this team at this point. And it's tough because this roster was not terrible 3 years ago, right?
And it's still not. They've got a fun young defense. I mean, you look at their defense with Jeremy Chin in the back, Shaq Thompson. I mean, Brown and Ioannidis in the middle. They've got stoppers, Burns and Haynes on the outside. Solid players. They've got a lot of solid players here.
And they've been in on the quarterback sweepstakes, right? Like, it's not like they've sat back. Like, their name's been tossed around. But I also don't think that Matt Rule is going to hang his hat on one of these quarterbacks at 6.
I don't think he can. I think for him and Scott Fitterer, I think this is a year where they need to prove they're going forward. That's why a Baker Mayfield or a Jimmy G makes a ton more sense for them.
Why do they hate Baker? It's like it literally was immediately like reported that Carolina has no mutual interest in Baker, and Baker does not have any mutual interest.
Yeah, and Robbie Anderson was like, no, don't let him come here. And
nobody's making business decisions based off Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, and Robbie Anderson had one good year with Teddy Bridgewater. And then Sam Darnold was like, hey,
80-yard balls a year, and that's
it. Remember me? We had some bad seasons there together, and Sam Darnold isn't the guy. They've got to figure it out because this is possibly the last chance for Matt Let Love Rule. And our guy, Nick Wilson, said it to us last year. He said Justin Fields should have been the pick there. They had the chance to get Justin Fields. They blew that. Don't go and double up on that mistake and say just because you didn't take Justin Fields when you had the shot last year, we got to take a quarterback in the top 10 because none of these guys are worth that top 10 pick.
You can't jump this year. You just can't. Like, I get it. You're a shitty team because you don't have a quarterback. We all know it.
Malik Willis looks fun, but I don't want a guy whose best stat is he's the best quarterback in the draft at breaking tackles. Because he's going to need that stat because that offensive line needs help.
6 stat.
Kenny Pickett, he's got small hands. Yeah, he fumbled a lot in Pittsburgh. I get it. Throws the ball pretty damn well when he holds on to it. He's going to struggle at times when he gets hit from behind. And it's going to happen because right now, Cam Irving's your starting left tackle. I watched Cam Irving play every position in Cleveland. He was terrible. He got better in Kansas City. He's just about below average there at left tackle. You need to strengthen that offensive line because if you have a good enough offensive line and an okay quarterback, you can be pretty damn good in that division. Because the Falcons aren't doing anything. Tampa, yeah, they're pretty damn good. But they're not going to be there long.
Wait, how good's Tampa?
I think Tampa still can win a Super Bowl. But what are we getting out of 86-year-old Tom Brady? Is he ever going to fall off that cliff?
But
is it going to start to go down?
They also kind of lost their best receiver. And I know you want to say that AB wasn't their best receiver, but in the playoffs they needed Antonio Brown.
They did.
And
he's still out there.
He's not. Bro, he ran off the field naked and basically said F Bruce Arians, right?
Hey, Bruce is gone. Now it's Todd Bowles. Maybe Todd Bowles understands a little bit. He's not going back there. And yeah, Chris Godwin tore ligaments. He's going to be hurt. You don't know what you're going to necessarily get. The Saints, we don't know what the Saints are. This is still a very winnable division, or at least a wild card opportunity in the NFC if they get okay quarterback play. Jimmy G or Baker Mayfield is the quarterback option for them that makes the most sense.
I think this is the right pick for the Panthers.
And the Panthers can't do, this is their chance to really keep a solid foundation.
Sorry, that was confusing. They made a pick.
The pick is Ike Ekwonu, a guy who can play inside or outside. He is going to start at left tackle from day one. And, of course, a second that this pick is made, Mary Kay Cabot tweets out, the Carolina Panthers, who have expressed interest in trading for Browns Baker Mayfield, have drafted Carolina State.
Anything
Ike
about the
Ekwonu keeps
Lions?
alive. Nope, nothing about the Lions yet. But Ike Ekwonu is a phenomenal left tackle. Did an excellent job at NC State. Can do anything on the field. He moves so fluid and easily. Rocking the Nigerian suit here. This is badass suit. I dig this suit. I could rock that. But going back to his roots with that suit.
Wait? Let me clear something out. Are we gonna commentate on suits and shit? Because I'm
Oh,
all
we
in.
can. We can
No.
commentate
If
on
we're doing
anything.
if we're doing an outfit thing, because listen, there's 10 minutes for picks between picks. It's actually
You know what the crazy thing is? We have so much time in between picks yet we're running up to each pick without a problem here.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
I'm gonna take a second
that
to get
suit
a sip
for
of water
me.
here.
I'm a big fan of. I thought you had a bartender. You probably should call them.
9 o'clock.
There's a scheduled bartender. Jesus, you got issues over there, brother. No, I'm all about judging suits and shit. Like, I would say that suit is way better than what Kayvon Thibodeau's Valentine suit was. And I want everybody to know, like, I used to like be a golf pro, so I dressed really well. Now I just wear sweats.
And Jared
and
Goff jerseys.
I'm overweight. And so I just wear t-shirts that are too small for me. So like that's where I'm at now. So like I just want you guys to know that when I'm critiquing a suit, this is the person I am. That I have no reason to be doing that, but I'm gonna do it.
Hey, we're just having a good time. Anybody joins us, the links are available on our Twitter. Go ahead and come on and join us. It's also on Facebook on our page there. We're just here to have a good time. The best part about this show is like just dudes hanging out. And that's why everyone who comes on the show always has a good time. And anyone who comes on, we won't make you play any of our games tonight. Yeah, I'm not going to promise anything. But how do you like this pick?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I thought that at this point, Evan Neal would be the pick for them because I thought Ekwonu would be off the board, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that they got the best tackle in this draft. And I still am hell-bent on saying that Giants are going to turn around and take Charles Cross. And I might be dumb. But
I think that'd be a great pick.
I do. I mean, agree.
Matt Pert
I might have
right
somebody
tackle
joining us. I might have somebody joining us.
Sweet.
You know,
Matt Pert at right tackle, solid
it's
player.
Just like it's weird to like have a team connected to a tackle that's going to go like in the, like 5 to 10. You don't hear that often, right? You don't hear that often.
Giants pick is in. They're ready to roll.
It's in. By the way, like some of these, never mind. Lewis Radical, idiot. What's it? What, you wear a red suit? You wear a red suit?
Listen, I struggle with shades. I thought that was pink this whole time.
What you?
I also wear a lot of gray and black.
All right. Well, so it's gonna be Charles Cross. I mean, that's what I gotta say. I think again, dude. Here's what I was saying earlier. Like Kyle Hamilton, he's slipping. Yeah. Remember when he was mocked as high as 1, even?
Yeah.
2.
He's that good, but it's hard to find.
It's a safety.
It's a safety, exactly.
He reminds me of Jamal Adams too, because like I'm not saying his coverage isn't elite, but like he's a guy that'll get his head down and get work down at the line of scrimmage. But I think again, in a safety, and I have same thing with corner. I have a no top 5 safety rule. Just rule. These are my rules. I'm sorry if anybody doesn't like my rules. These are my rules, and that's the way it is.
And that makes sense. You got to have, when you're going into this and you're going to analyze draft, you got to have an idea of what you're going to do. You've got to. And why not? Have your rules, go with it. The pick is in for the Giants. I think bringing in a tackle, Andrew Thomas got better last year. Is he the guy officially going forward? Garcia at left guard, okay. Matt Pert at right tackle, okay. But none of these guys are going to be, you really need to shore up that offensive line. You want Danny Jones to be better. You supposedly have gotten him weapons.
Whatever. But
whatever. You already got your pass rush.
No, you want him to be better, but why are we doing this bullshit with Daniel Jones? Are we going to like act like he may be a good quarterback? Or
I mean, they picked up his option. You're going to see him at least a couple more years. Most likely.
No, I get that, but like you and I'm talking to you, like personally, like are you in on?
I'm not. Jones? No, I didn't think Danny Jones was a pick then, and Evan Neal is the pick at number 7. We got Roberto joining us here. Let's see if We'll try to add him to the stream. I don't see anything on here, but we'll try to add him to the stream. Why not? Let me go in here, change a couple things. See if Roberto pops up. If he does,
Bobby, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
What's up with the Roberto thing? Is that like a new like twang
Spanish
thing?
Hey,
We've been hanging out at like Mexican restaurants and stuff.
Roberto's giving us a circle right now. We'll see if it connects. If not, oh well. Evan Neal is the pick. We both thought, hey, you got to go offensive tackle. How you feeling about that pick?
Dude. I'm just off. I mean, I know the cross pick was I was pretty damn confident with that, and that kind of backfired. So now we go to Atlanta. And Bobby, any thoughts about any shocking picks? Any thoughts about any of the picks so far?
Oh, I think every pick is fine. I haven't had any issues, no shocks yet. I mean, I thought, Thibodeau would have been gone at this point. That's good. Makes sense. He was one of the better players. Kyle Hamilton's out there. Makes sense for Atlanta, who does basically whatever the hell they want. Last year, they take a tight end early, and then they get rid of their better quarterback and bring in Marcus Mariota. They need help everywhere. There's not one spot on this lineup where I'm like, okay, you don't need anyone. Kyle Pitts, solid. They need help at left guard. They need wide receivers. They've got no wide receivers. I'm going to back out of this and remove Roberto from the stream here. Get us back into two-player mode. We'll see if he ends up popping up here. It does not seem to be connecting. 5 more minutes on the clock for Atlanta, who just hasn't been good with drafting lately. We don't know what they are. You look at who's on this roster. Okay, on corner, you're there. You need help on the defensive line. Your linebackers played terrible last year. Your safeties were okay. You basically got one guy in Kyle Pitts on offense, Cordero Patterson, if that's the guy you want to roll with. Where do you go here? Kyle Hamilton, best player available. Do you go Kyle Hamilton, or do you get weapons for Marcus Mariota?
Yeah. I mean,
or do you get a quarterback? Is this the spot where the quarterback finally goes?
No, it's not.
I don't think so either.
I think they go wide receiver here. I think Garrett Wilson makes sense.
Yep.
I don't want to discredit Marcus Mariota because I don't think he's he's not a terrible player. I think injuries have kind of changed things. But for me, I think that you have to add a weapon. And I think somebody with some speed, and Garrett Wilson needs to be that guy.
I mean, you look at their weapons. You got Olamide Zacchaeus, Kadero Hodge. Kadero Hodge, excellent player on special teams. Respond to this real quick. Where do you go? What is your pick if you are running that room right now?
I would I would take Garrett Wilson or Drake London.
You're okay with taking Drake London at 8?
Yes, because I think he's the best receiver in the draft. But I think Garrett Wilson with his speed is more complementary to the quarterback they have under center at this point.
Yeah.
Bring Bobby back in this bad boy. Is he backstage? I think it was working before. I think you were tripping over on your end.
All right, let me see if it comes up here.
Yeah, sick.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, dude, we can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear him?
I can't, but you guys talk
You
it
can't.
up.
You can't hear
I
me.
have nothing on my end.
What do you mean you can't hear him? It's just
I got the spinning black circle, or I got the spinning circle over here.
You can hear me, but you can't hear him.
I can hear you, but can't hear him.
All right. Well,
That's
let me.
It's working fine for me.
Any surprise picks for you, Bobby, so far?
Not really. I think it's kind of interesting. The NFL draft has turned into kind of, depending on where you're picking, you're only going to take 3 positions. Like, you're only going to see an offensive lineman, cornerback, quarterback, obviously, go in the top 10 anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's literally there's 5 positions at most that you're going to actually need. Look, what's he doing? But that's the thing. You're right. It's quarterback. It's tackle. It's like a running back won't be taken in the first round for a long, long time. He's showing that it's just black spinning. I don't know, dude.
It's all good. You can drop me. I could try going back in and out again.
We're gonna blame Spectrum like we always do.
Yeah, we do.
Spectrum, dude. It's always Spectrum's fault.
Fun thing is, I hope this is just going out and it's just not y'all talking.
No,
I can hear you.
Yeah, everybody can hear you, and we can hear each other. Drake London's the pick. Cheers to
Drake
me.
London.
Is that the first receiver?
Although I think he's the best receiver. I know that the Ohio State receivers, again, I think that they're going to go here shortly. Let's take a look. We have...
We're at Seattle. We're not
see-
taking a receiver.
So,
No.
Let me ask you guys this: if Smith Njigba, or however you pronounce his name, if he was in
I
this
thought Drake
draft,
London was going 10.
would he
Go
get
ahead,
drafted before Garrett Wilson and Olave?
Okay, so I'm going to relay what he said like you're a deaf person, Jeremy.
I'm going to watch the show while y'all talk.
So he asked if Jackson Smith and Jigba was in this year's draft, would he go before A, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, and B, he didn't ask this, but he would go above any wide receiver.
I think he would.
Yeah.
He's that smooth.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, he would be the best wide receiver in this draft.
100% he would be. Because he is a smooth route runner, better than anyone else in this draft, including Olave, who I had as the best best route runner. Let me see what I can do here.
I mean, I hate Ohio State, and you just have to admit, like, their wide receivers going back like probably 7-8 years now, just been ridiculous.
Where the Seahawks go at this point?
I agree. Their wide receivers have been the wide receiver class last year at Ohio State was probably one of the best ever with who they had. Where does Seattle go, Jeremy? So this one's interesting for me. Like, again, I had Stingley going to them. It's a struggle. I don't know why you can't hear.
Makes no sense.
It doesn't make any.
Let me drop off.
I see him. What's up, Bobby? Now I can
What's
see.
going on, Jeremy?
Yeah, he's been part of the crew here. Like,
all right, let me log off and log back on.
It's ridiculous.
All right, man. He said he's gonna log off and try to log back on.
No, I don't think it's him. I think it's on my end over here.
I agree.
Because it's obviously shown out. You can talk. I just can't. And now I got to set it up for 3-player mode here. Let's go back into 2-player mode. Okay, so Drake London, big, strong receiver. Unbelievable player. I still got a white screen. I'm going to let Bobby back in and let you guys still chat. I'll back out for a second.
What do you mean you have a white screen?
That shows no picture. I got Bobby on here, but it shows nothing. So I'm still not picking him up.
Here's what we need to do. So what we need to do is we need to end the stream and refire it up.
I think it's just on my end, bud.
But
That's
dude,
it.
if you have a white screen, like it is just on here.
I just got Bobby. That's it. So no matter what, I don't think I'm going to pick him up. So what I'm going to do is let y'all take over for Seattle. And I'm going to back out for a second. I'm going to add Bobby to the stream.
Okay.
Let me make sure you can see him. Because I think I'm just the only one here who's losing everything. Rad and Bobby. Bobby's back.
Yep, I can see Bobby.
Bobby's in.
Can you hear me?
I'm putting in 2-player mode here, and I'm going to back out for a second.
All right.
Oh, shit, we lost Jeremy?
No. It was planned. Jeremy, he planned on he's going to try to hop back out and hop back in. Because he was saying he couldn't even see himself. So not a great scene.
I could see myself.
So Seattle's in a super weird spot, dude. So Seattle no longer has Russell Wilson. They still have DK Metcalf. They still have Tyler Lockett. Rashad Penny came on in the back half of the year. So clearly, I don't think they're going with a wide receiver here. And I'm not asking you to name a guy, but like, what do you think about Seattle? Let me just ask this. What do you think about Seattle heading into this season the way it is with their quarterback being Drew Lock?
You got to blow everything up. Like, I think Pete Carroll's got to be what, like 70 by now?
170, yeah.
He's 170. Okay,
yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, at this point, I think blow it up. I mean, honestly, if there was a better QB in this draft, you'd have to imagine Seattle would probably have gone all in just to get that guy. Because, I mean, like all this stuff coming out, oh, no, man, they really like Drew Lock. It's like, all right, dude, Drew Lock has a ceiling.
He stinks. He stinks. Like, that's the thing. Like, we've seen Drew Lock, right? Like, it's not like he never played for Denver.
No, he played a lot, right?
Wow. Okay. So here's what Jeremy, I'm assuming, posted because it's coming from our account. Baker to Seattle.
Official.
Wait, it's not official, is it?
No.
I was just thinking Jeremy was just talking out of his ass.
Oh, is he like posing it as a question?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I think he is.
I think that'd be.
Oh,
perfect.
okay. Want your opinion? He said. Okay.
I think it's perfect because correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe next year's draft class is loaded with quarterbacks.
It is.
Yeah, Baker's going to want to show what he can do for a year. Granted, they probably don't want the 18 mil, but the Browns are probably going to have to back down and pay.
They're going to have to eat some
no matter what.
You're right.
So, I don't know. I think actually, yeah. I mean, I think Baker's above average. He's just a slightly above average NFL quarterback. He's not. His floor is but
if Baker was in this draft class, would he be the number one quarterback take? Can you see Bobby?
I can see Bobby.
Oh,
what's up, Jeremy?
What's going on, brother?
Oh my God!
I'm like, oh my God, he appeared. I'm gonna hop back in and see if it all works.
Like the first time you like, oh, we're gonna drop him, and I was like, he was there. Like I could see him and hear him.
Yeah, I got nothing, so I'm like, oh, maybe it's on my end here. It is on my end. Let's just blame Spectrum like we always do.
Let's do it.
You were saying before I hop back in, Baker, if he was in this draft, where would he be by far the best quarterback in this draft?
I agree with that.
Wouldn't he be close?
As crazy as it sounds, I mean, Baker, the second half of 2020, and I know it was only a game and a half, but he was great against the Chiefs and he was great against the Texans until he got his shoulder ripped up. And then the rest of the year was a joke. But I really don't think he's a bad quarterback.
No, we talk about this all the time. That's a Kevin Stefanski problem. Jeremy doesn't want to admit it. He doesn't want to admit it. Jeremy's not he's not in it. He wants to tell me, oh, this and that, but that's just the way it is.
Baker decided to not see the field, and he went back to Oklahoma where he struggled to do anything except for try to look for the big play.
Why didn't he see the field?
Why did he not see the field?
No, why? Yeah, the reason he couldn't see the field is because the play call was terrible.
No, because he wanted to throw everything downfield rather than look at exactly what's in front of him. 3 times in multiple games I can think of off the top of my head.
The Vikings fourth down play.
Yep, Vikings where he ran into a sack.
Every pass he made in the Packers game. Right in front of him.
Steelers game?
Yeah, the entire Steelers. Well, that one too. I think he have 9 batted balls?
Yeah.
He's small. He's a small guy.
He held on to the football too long because he wanted to make bigger plays than the play that was there for him. And that was the number one thing I had on him in 2018 coming out, was that he holds the ball too long sometimes, looking for the big play, and gets into trouble. Now, if he can go to an offense where they want to work with him and really allow him to be him and maybe gun that ball downfield, but know that he's going to get in trouble, then maybe it works out. But they need to know what they're getting right off the bat. And yeah, you hit it on the head, Bobby. I think you said it as I was jumping back in. Next year's quarterback class, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, loaded.
Ooh,
why won't one of these teams give up, a 4th or 5th? Charles Cross goes at number 9. There's your guy, Drew.
Yeah. Listen, I was a little late, man. I feel like I'm kind of on so far. Like, so the thing is, like with my mock here, and I rival with McShay and Kuiper because I think I'm better than those guys. My mock here was pretty solid, but this is where shit just hits the fan. I think in everybody's mock,
it's
like
darts.
I especially think like this 12 to 25 range is just an absolute shit show. Jeremy, do you agree?
Absolutely. This whole draft is a shit show.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of gone like somewhat not crazy to this point. Like here or there, but like this is where I think things get kind of a little hairy.
Charles Cross is a nice pick though for Seattle.
Yeah, no, Seattle made the right pick. But like I think Bobby mentioned something when you were out in space. He said that like it was a great point. Is like Pete Carroll's 150, right? So like what are we doing? Like Drew Lock is Drew Lock the guy?
150.
Jeremy loves Drew Lock. Jeremy loves Drew Lock.
No, I did like Drew Lock a couple years ago, but I know what Drew Lock is.
Drew Lock guy.
He's got a like. What's the best scenario for Drew Lock's career?
Yeah, backup quarterback.
Like I don't.
Lock, I think eventually his hope is to be Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Or have a
Like,
rap
that's his
album.
hope. Just a guy who's a slinger and
I like
can go
that.
out there and eventually get things done. But he's got a long way to go before he can become that, because the Ryan Fitzpatrick we all know and love was once just a dinker and a dunker.
Hey,
He went to Harvard.
edible check. I think the edibles have kicked in there, partner.
You were thinking pick 12. You're a little early.
Listen, I said it. I said 30 to 45. You're right. I said, what did I say? Pick 13?
Yeah.
Would you
Yeah,
guys
you're
work?
right. You're right. I was off. Listen, it's not a perfect science.
So the Jets are on the clock. We all had Drake London here. I thought this was the best pick for Drake London. They still go wide receiver?
Yes. Yeah, they take Jameson
Oh, that
Williams.
makes so much sense.
Jameson Williams here for sure.
Jameson Williams, even with the ACL injury. Or do you go
Jameson
Garrett Wilson
Williams.
knowing you're getting him right away?
Jameson Williams.
Bobby, what do you say?
Dude, I like all three of these receivers.
Yeah.
I'll go Jameson Williams just because Drew's hit on the mock pretty well so far.
He's pretty much saying like I'm spot on. Everybody knows it.
I'm not betting against you, dude.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Jeremy probably was going to say Chris Garrett Wilson, which it would be a
Garrett
fine
Wilson.
pick.
I mean, these four receivers, like how
It's
how
all
can
about
you-
like what fits, like what they're
yeah, like how can you definitively say like, oh no, this guy's going to be better than this one? It's like they're both pretty damn good.
Yeah, and it's
In
funny
today's
like, with
NFL?
receivers. Like with like receivers, like so like the Lions, there's multiple receivers that came available this year, and like Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill, like DK Metcalf was the one that I wanted just because of how he
Amari
fits
Cooper.
with the other receiver. But see,
Brown
DK
Storm.
Metcalf is just a giant. Like, and it fits with the slot of Ramon St. Brown, and like it fits with everything else they're doing. So like it's just like you can't force a big receiver or a scat receiver or a speed receiver into an offense that doesn't necessarily is equipped to it, I guess I would say.
That makes
Have you
sense.
ever seen a draft room on TV where they're not clapping after the pick? Like, has anybody been like, shit, we had to take that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the booing of like Eli Manning or like some of like the legendary boos.
Kyle Brady getting booed in 95. I just watched the 95 draft the other day. That's one
Yeah,
of the worst.
sweet. Jeremy's watching the fucking 95 draft.
Hey,
Get this guy out.
That's some deep
We
hole.
need to
Any
get
draft,
together
any
and hang
day.
out if you're watching the fucking 95 draft. There's gonna be 150 million better things on than the 95 draft.
Who was the number one pick in the 95 draft?
Yeah, who was
Donna
it?
Carter.
Oh, wow. How bad of a pick was that? Eesh.
Hey,
Literally,
he looked like a good player until he tore his ACL when ACL injuries were like, oh, you're dead.
Yeah, true.
it's honestly, I'm starting to worry about you, dude.
Hey,
I didn't know you were watching
Network.
95 drafts
like-
and stuff.
Back in the draft, they're like flashback drafts. I'm like, I'm cool
No,
with
but dude,
flashbacks.
The draft is like super fucking boring. Why didn't you just Google
No,
the fucking
I love
draft
it.
picks?
Absolutely love it. I'll watch them all. Anytime.
All Browns fans just instinctively love the draft.
We
No,
love
we
the
need to
draft.
get you out of the fucking house. You and I are going to go out. We're going to do something because
That was the draft
hurts
that
me.
the Browns traded down from 10. So the Niners could take J.J. Stokes, and then that pick that the Browns traded eventually became Ray Lewis.
Wow.
That was a huge draft. Anyways, back to the 2022
Garrett
draft.
Wilson's the pick.
Jets pick is in. Garrett Wilson is the pick. Best receiver in the draft.
Yeah, second
Depending on
best.
what
Yeah,
you
for
use.
sure. For sure.
I mean, Drake London is a big guy who could eventually be a tight end.
oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
I
That's
like Drake
fair.
London.
That seems extremely unfair.
Just throwing bombs here. Pick 10 already.
I can't believe it's only pick 10.
Hey, we're an hour and 14 minutes into the
Yeah,
show
I thought
here.
this was going fast, and then I'm like, it's pick 10. It's 9:15.
Yeah, it's
Like,
slowed
what are
down.
we- like the Lions need to just move up. Just move up.
What we need to do is where's my
Would you get
Parkside
is the 32nd pick from the golf trade?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, dude, Bobby brought that up. Yeah, it is, dude. If Matt Stafford would have just been normal Matt Stafford, we'd be picking like 22.
No, if
We'd have had a
Jaquiski Tart,
shot at somebody reasonable, but he had to go win the fucking Super Bowl.
Jaquiski Tart catches that game or that interception that Matt Stafford gift
Yeah.
wrapped for him,
That's true.
you're in the
Jaquiski
20s
Tart.
at least.
Yeah, I mean,
Stafford's no-look throw, though, is sick.
Matt Stafford is
He's
sick
been doing that
in
for
general.
years, and it's so sad that he's just now getting recognition for it.
He's super good. And
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah,
Not
now
yet.
he is.
Not yet.
You don't but he's going to be top 10 in like every single
Everything.
passing quarter.
No,
like,
he's a Hall of
every
Famer
single
now.
one.
A lot
And
of
he's
these
got a
guys
Super
are.
Bowl.
No,
No, that's the weird thing, though. That's a good point. Like, you can't compare Fran Tarkington to, I don't know, who's like a middling Phillip Rivers. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I always feel like there needs to be like a cutoff between like old school, because like
Mhm.
even in the NBA, right?
Yeah,
like, the game
for sure.
changed so much between this era to this era. There needs to be like an old fucks Hall of Fame, and then there needs to be like a modern day Hall of Fame, because
Like
the
George-
game changed so much.
like George Mikan, I don't know. I just don't see him banging around with Shaq. Like,
Right.
No.
Even in baseball, Babe Ruth was playing against the fucking dude that just baked donuts.
Yeah, and all
for his
white
day
people
job.
too.
He's throwing up watermelon pitches to the guy. Like,
Washington Commanders have traded the pick
Oh, first trade.
to the Saints.
to the
Saints moving up to 11.
All right, so what are we thinking with the Saints here?
Saints, they already traded to get a second first-round pick. You got to imagine if you're moving up again, this has to be a quarterback spot. You don't keep giving up picks to move up for any other position, do you?
Or is this what we talked about? Do you think this is the Kyle Hamilton deal?
I mean, Kyle Hamilton would be. We all thought that defense was going to be phenomenal last year, and it wasn't.
So, like, remember when we talked, like you and I were talking before the show, like this 11 to 14 area. If Kyle Hamilton's still on the board, there's going to be a team that potentially will move up to grab him. Now let's not get it fucked up. The Saints are in. Well, they were in cap purgatory, but somehow they went to their like shark.
The cap's not real.
Yeah, and they like cashed out like their car, the payment, their house, and like they found some salary, but like again, there's no way it's a quarterback.
Well, here's the thing though, like if you're going to take a safety in the first round, you better be damn close to winning a Super Bowl. Like I don't know how you pull the trigger on a safety, especially didn't he run like a 4.6 40 or just like a horrible...
He did, but his football speed is way different than his underwear Olympic speed. And they're starting Daniel Sorensen as strong safety.
I don't know. It's just like if you're going to spend that kind of draft capital on a safety, like you better be damn sure he's Ed Reed.
I don't disagree.
And maybe he is though. Like everybody, all the quote unquote football people are just rave about this.
He'll be the only safety taken in the first round.
Oh, for sure.
Which is saying something alone.
Unless Sign gets in at the end, or maybe the kid Brisker from Penn State, they could maybe slide into the back end depending on what guys want at that point. But to make two moves in this draft to not only get the second first round pick, but then to trade up from one of those picks, I just can't see it being safety.
Dude, do they go skill position here? I
mean, do you go Jameson Williams to get ahead of?
Do they see the wide receivers falling off the board and they feel like we got to go get our guy?
But I mean, is that where you want to go? Is Michael Thomas coming back? I mean, you saw what they could do without him.
Let's stop with Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is off a fucking cliff. The guys have played in a year and a half.
Okay, with an ankle injury, and we thought he was going to be back multiple times last year.
He had a hurt heart and hurt feelings too.
True,
and kept him out, right?
And you re-signed Jameis. You signed Andy Dalton. Is this? I mean, they could go anywhere. They need a left tackle. Is this for Bernard Rahman? Is it a guy like that? Or what are they seeing? Do they need another corner? Marshawn Lattimore played well. You had Paulson Adabo across from him, who was okay. Do they feel Andrew Booth's going to go soon? Is this a Jair Elite or Khair Elam? Literally, this pick could be anything.
There's lots of interesting corners for sure. There's 3 interesting corners that I have no idea.
McDuffie.
And I thought Jermaine Johnson had the potential to go in the top 10 randomly.
He had a great combine, and we saw what Trayvon Walker's combine did for him, moving him from
and also, okay. I mean, that was, again, the Trayvon Walker thing to me is incredible.
How is that guy a real human being?
Well, that's true too.
I don't understand the physics of how something that large can move that fast. Like
it's insane.
Yeah. Well, it's like, So like Myles Garrett's kind of the same way, but Myles Garrett's so much more he's just so much more polished, and he was coming out of A&M too. Like I get why you pick a player because of the upside, but it's like, man, when you're Jacksonville, like you gotta have somebody go put in the lineup immediately and be productive. And I don't know if that's going to be the case, but we'll see.
Jermaine Johnson listed Mel's number 2 available, which I think that's insane. But is it a edge rusher? I mean, you traded up to get Marcus Davenport. You still got Cam Jordan.
So they traded. Wow. All right. So they moved on.
What did they give up?
Well, it just flashed away. They gave up 16, which is where they picked. So they moved up 5 spots, and then it doesn't tell me. I think it was like a couple late round. I mean,
so they moved up from their actual pick
for a second.
Or no, they moved up from Indy's pick, which was from Philadelphia. This is weird to me. We'll see what they do.
Commanders. This is the Commanders era.
Should have stuck with the football team, which I never thought I'd say.
Listen, the Commanders and the Guardians are taking over. Everybody knows.
Is it Olave?
0-10.
I don't know. This pick's interesting.
To give up more to move 5 picks, you're jumping the Vikings, Texans, Ravens, and the Eagles.
And like to move up in the first round, I think they gave up a second. I wasn't able to see it, but they're giving up, like, to move up 5 picks in the first round, you're giving up some serious capital.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're moving in the 4th round.
Still waiting on the pick here. I feel it's to keep moving up like this. You got to absolutely love this player. You better hit on this pick. It has to be a pick you hit on. I got them needing. Let me see what I had written down here in the notes. Wide receiver, tackle, quarterback. You need a left tackle. Got a bolt up guy on the stage here.
Yeah, what is going on?
Yeah, there's like 4 people up there. I'm not sure what we're doing.
Tony Gonzalez?
What? Yeah. Well, he's holding out for the Saints pick. Doesn't make much sense. There's a Chargers fan there. The NFL draft's a mess. Like, what are we doing here? Tony Gonzalez. Why is Tony Gonzalez making the pick? I don't understand it. Make it make sense.
Because he was a Commander's grade at one point, and he was already right. No, this makes no sense at all. I'm with you.
Is this a Falcons pick, or is it the Chiefs pick? Like, why is he picking for the Saints? Like, what's happening? Oh, Jesus!
Who's this guy?
I don't even know who this guy is. Just make the pick, for Christ's sakes. Like,
all right, what you got telling you? Who's the pick, Drew?
I'm gonna say Jameson Williams.
Bobby's going with Olave. You're going Jameson Williams.
Yep. I do think it's going to be a wide receiver. Probably wrong, but why is it?
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the pick is tomorrow.
I mean, I don't even have the volume on. Like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
Like,
who is this guy?
Is this? Are we at communion? Like, are we? I don't understand.
What about a linebacker? Can you see him taking a linebacker here? But do you have to jump up to grab Nakobe Dean, or, I mean,
I do like Nakobe Dean.
I do too.
Now, Nakobe Dean has questions with that knee.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think teams, and that's, I think, the reason he's going to slip down the draft board. I mean, what about Devin Lloyd?
Yeah, could see that. I like Nakobe Dean better, but Devin Lloyd fits as well. And I understand the knocks on Nakobe Dean. He had 2 mammoth defensive tackles in front of him at all time, but to me, he's Darius Leonard.
But like you could also like argue that for that entire Georgia defense, right? Like this team,
Bobby's correct.
Team didn't have it. You know what I mean? Like,
is it Olave?
Chris Olave is the pick.
Wow.
So then
at number 11.
Is Jameson going 12 then?
Do the Vikings need to get another wide receiver? Are you worried about Adam Thielen coming back? He's at 32 years old.
Adam Thielen's 32?
32 now.
Wow.
It's hard to believe.
Coming up with the Vikings, I think they need offensive line help. I think they need an edge. I think they need a corner because they took a corner round 1 a couple years ago and they kicked him off the team already. Jeff Gladney, who didn't last very long. And I think he's with the Chiefs now. Chris Olave going number 11. He's the third wide receiver picked.
I had him going number 11. Does that count as a check?
Dude, I think
It does.
All right, check it. Let's go.
this is getting traded, dude, to the Lions.
Oh, shit. This is where I said you move up and get Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah.
I said it.
Are they going after Jameson? What if the Lions got Jameson?
Lions are a team that could definitely use another receiver.
The Lions moving up here is
this a quarterback spot, Drew?
no.
Kyle
It's
Hamilton would be
100%
phenomenal here.
not.
Adding Aiden Hutchinson and Kyle Hamilton, two of my top 3 players in this draft, that'd be big for that Honolulu Blue D.
Caught off guard here real quick, boys.
Chris
Caught off
Olave,
guard.
is there a better route runner in this draft?
No.
He
No,
ran
there's not.
faster. Pick is in already for the Lions, so in about 2.5 hours, we'll find out who that pick is. We shall see. But Olave, one of my favorite Buckeyes of all time. Good for him to go top 11. Jameson Williams probably would have been the number 1 guy off the board as far as receiver had he not hurt himself. But good for Olave. And even crazier, this pick at 12 was the Vikings. They traded with their NFC North rival, the Lions.
Oh, yeah.
An interdivisional trade here. I mean, Lions need a little bit of everything.
It's true.
It is true.
I don't
Specifically,
even
a
know.
quarterback.
This is, by the way, this is
linebacker.
completely, for anybody that's just listening, this is completely unlike the Lions. I'm looking
This
at Brad
is
Holmes
new
right now.
Lions
He's
era.
fired up. I'm fired up that he's fired up. But the Lions don't make moves like this. This is very, like, I've been a fan of this team for my entire life. They don't do things like this. They don't move up. They look very excited. I'm not sure what they're excited about.
Drew, who do you want? Who is it that you want at pick 12 for the Detroit Lions?
I will take Jordan Davis
Jordan Davis?
or Kyle Hamilton. If they take a quarterback, please don't take Kenny Pickett. They're
It's gonna
showing
be
Kenny
Jameson.
Pickett. Please don't take Kenny Pickett.
Bobby, you're going with Jameson Williams here?
Yeah.
I'd like that across from the Sun God. They do need weapons. TJ Hawkinson opening up underneath. And Ross St. Brown gets to do a little bit of everything. Then you got the guy who takes the top off the defense. But you're still looking at the guy who can hit him on those deep passes.
Yeah.
Malik Willis. What's it looking like in his green room right now? Also, Matt Corral in the green room was Drew's pick to be the final guy in the green room. And I'm still going with the fact that you're going to be right on that one. As you've been on a lot of your picks here, Mr. Going 32 for 32. You didn't do that, but your mock's been pretty damn good so far.
Yeah, I still am. Yeah, no, it has. I mean, listen, if you guys didn't think I was going to pick all the players that were going to go to the teams, then what were you even thinking? I mean, of course, I knew where everybody was going. This changes up the entire draft. I mean, the Lions, what did they give up? Like, well, there's lots of question marks out there right now for me.
This is a big jump.
Certainly. And if this is a quarterback, I'm going to be quite sad. I'm going to be quite sad. That's all.
Is there any quarterback here you're okay with? Like
No.
you can understand and be all right with?
No, there's not.
So Bailey Zappi and his 62 touchdowns out of Western Kentucky are out of the question here at number 12 for Drew.
Out of the question. All right. So 12th overall pick, second round next year. We gave him 32 and 34.
Yeah.
Woo.
There goes our Baker trade.
2022 second round pick. All right. So we got 46 though.
Okay. That's a pretty solid deal to move up. I mean,
32
you guys
and
are loaded with
34.
picks.
I mean, what are they moving up for though? This is.
I would love to see Kyle Hamilton added to this defense. You said it at the beginning of the show. You needed a safety there.
Look,
and the NFL announces a Week 2 matchup. Chargers travel to Chiefs on Thursday, September 15th. So we got one game.
This is like very, very important to me.
This is huge. It's an important pick to see where they go, see what they're doing. Drake won $335,000 on a bet with Drake London. There we go. There's some important breaking news as we wait for the Raj to hit this pick.
Have you seen it yet, Drew?
Yeah, I see it.
Jameson Williams is the pick. How you feel about that? Bobby hit it again. Killing it with the wide receivers.
I hate it. Yeah.
Lions have good history drafting receivers in the first round.
Yeah.
Especially with the last name Williams.
I just hate
That's
it.
right.
I hate the pick. I'm not
Although
saying
you
he's
got
not going
Calvin
to be
in the
good.
first round.
I don't know how you fall all the way to there to get Jameson Williams. Speechless. Don't know what to say.
Jameson Williams would have been the top receiver in this draft had he not torn his ACL.
Yeah.
You got the number one edge rusher that most thought in this draft, number one wide receiver most thought in this draft minus the injury. In the first 12 picks, I mean, that's a pretty solid haul for the Lions, 6'1.5", 179 pounds. He's a skinny dude, but he takes the top off the defense. We have another trade. Philadelphia is now on the clock. They have traded with the Texans.
Here we go. Let the carnage begin.
Eagles gave up 15, a fourth rounder, and a 2. They're jumping over the Ravens. If they're jumping over the Ravens, you got to think this is either a defensive tackle to pair next to Fletcher Cox or a linebacker that they thought maybe the Ravens would take, because I think the Ravens really need help at defensive line. They could add another linebacker. Interesting thing. But back to Jameson Williams before we go to the Eagles, whose pick is already in. What does Jameson have to do next year to get you on board?
I mean, I can't believe that they moved up to the 12th pick of the draft to draft a wide receiver.
How about the fact that the last 3 selections have all been Ohio State at one point wide receivers? 10, 11, and 12.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. And the best wide receiver on the team last year is still in Columbus.
And they've still got Marvin Harrison Jr. on that roster, who might even be better at one point than these guys.
And his dad killed somebody, so
he did. But hey, he was good at football, so everyone forgot about it.
All right. I'm over the Lions pick now.
All right, pick is in for the Eagles. We'll see who it is. They have traded up to jump the Ravens. I think this has got to be Devontae Wyatt. You think it's Kyle Hamilton? Kyle Hamilton would be a great pick here too for them.
Maybe not.
I mean, I could see him jumping for Kyle Hamilton. Maybe that was a guy who I would hate to see him go to the Ravens.
Yeah, but you were thinking
Kyle
the
Hamilton
Eagles wanted to add a wideout.
But they also pick again here at number 19, and I think the top guys are gone at this point. It's really if you want a Treylon Burks, if you want a Sky Moore.
So this is interesting. 4 receivers taking in the first 12 picks, and then think about all of these mega deals that wide receivers got in the offseason.
And that's exactly why we're seeing this.
Christian Kirk ruined the market.
Yeah, Christian Kirk made that Amari Cooper trade for the Browns look absolutely like a steal. Because Amari Cooper at $20 million all day, any day, over Christian Kirk at $21 million. Wow. Who's the pick at, what are we at, 13 now? Who you going with, Drew?
Kyle Hamilton.
All right. Who you going with, Bobby?
Yeah, I'll follow that. I'll do Kyle Hamilton. Probably break the streak.
I'm going to be different. I'm going to say it's Trent McDuffie. Because I can also see the Ravens going after him. They do need cornerback help. And for them to jump the Ravens and give up a few picks, I think it's got to be someone they thought the Ravens would take. Even though I do hope it's Kyle Hamilton. Because I don't want to see him in the AFC North.
Oh, shit. Yeah, he's going to end up on Baltimore, guaranteed. That's a lock. And that's a lock. Guaranteed.
This is the Browns pick that they traded as part of the Deshaun Watson deal. It has now been dealt to the Texans and now to Philadelphia. And the Texans, who wanted to jump into the top 10, decided, hey, we couldn't get in the top 10. The players we really liked are gone. We're going to drop back a couple picks, pick up some more pieces, and we knew they needed to do that because, as we said earlier, what do they need? Everything. They're not good. feel like we see the pick is in, and then it's like 4 to 6 minutes each time, just waiting for it to be announced. Like, we could do this draft in 2 hours.
Oh, for sure.
I know we got to pay the bills with the commercials, but do a split screen or something here.
Gives you more time to just stew over that pick, Drew.
I'm not saying much. I'm just trying to like
process everything.
He's processing.
Yeah.
It.
Trying
it's
to.
Like, well, it's like why, you know?
I mean, is this a wide receiver spot for the Eagles? Do they feel they had to jump? Do you feel it's like they?
Yes, I feel like they're coming off the board, and they did.
I mean, but who are you getting at this point? Do you go this high for George Pickens?
I think, yeah.
I don't think George. I wouldn't touch George Pickens in the first round. I think he's got red flags to me.
You're right. This is a. Could this be a quarterback?
I don't think any of these guys is better than Jalen Hurts.
I just asked. It could be a quarterback. I don't know.
I just can't see it. It could be.
Okay.
It absolutely could be a quarterback. Because to move up at this point, maybe you felt another team was going to move up and get him. Maybe it has nothing to do with the fact that I thought they had to hop Baltimore.
The positive thing I'll say is the Lions didn't take a quarterback, I guess. I don't have that many great things to say. That's all.
You got a burner who can take the top off the defense.
Dude, you guys should trade for Baker.
Yeah.
Still stuck on that. Drew and I worked out a deal earlier. Now that deal's off the table because you got rid of 34.
It is off the table.
I offered him 44 and Baker to move up to 34. Actually, it was 32 to begin, and then I added $9 million, and that got declined. And then we went 44 and 34, and that was okay. And I'm fine with that because I thought we'd move up for Treylon Burks for the Cleveland Browns or something like that. This pick is in. We're never going to get to it.
13th overall pick for 15.
4th and 2.
4th and 2.
Dude, I will never understand
cash to move up in the first round.
Yeah, it does.
To hop up 2 spots. Or
but then look at the Amari Cooper trade. It's like
a 5th rounder.
Yeah, it's like what I don't.
Andrew
Barry has an established veteran. Like, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't factor that in. A rookie's going to be a lot cheaper. That's true.
He is, and that's a huge thing with the draft is if you hit on these, this is how you build your franchise. You got these low deals for right now. Eventually, you're going to have to pay some of these kids, and you want to eventually have to pay them because you know you did the right thing. But to really build a team, you need to hit on some of these picks, especially these late-round picks, because you got just little pieces and building blocks that are going to cost you almost nothing so you can pay these guys eventually. Philadelphia fans having a good time. Eventually, they're going to throw batteries at this guy. I mean, who's the guy who's going to get pegged with a battery?
Right.
Seen a Barry Sanders jersey walking through.
Yeah.
There in Vegas.
Sweet.
Seen some
Jameson Williams time.
I can't wait to send you a random Jameson Williams jersey now. Like,
yeah, just like you did the golf jersey I'm wearing. You sent this to me randomly.
Dude, golf to Williams, dude.
Yeah.
That is
sick.
The key to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Sure is, man.
And you got Swift. Dude, you guys got some weapons.
I like that offense if you get a quarterback.
I don't know. Is that important?
It's like 9:40 and I don't have another drink yet. Bartender!
You said your bartender was coming at 9.
Yeah, I just heard my door. Bartender's here. Yes. All right, we got people from Bishop Gorman. We got some high school kids out on the thing. Drew hopefully won't make fun of him like he did the Make-A-Wish kid.
That was tough scene. That was tough scene. I feel bad for that person. I apologize.
Good old Raj. Hey, Raj.
Dude, you know Kyle Hamilton's going to Baltimore. You know that is a lock. That is
it seems
100% happening. It's done deal, and he's going to be fucking Ed Reed. Like
I felt like it was going to be Jordan Davis, and now it's like Kyle Hamilton just falls in their lap.
And they'll use him. Jordan Davis went to the Eagles.
Jordan Davis was the guy I thought made sense at 14 for the Ravens.
Hey,
so they must have really thought he was going to go
hot take? Remember my hot take?
What's your hot take?
Jordan Davis top 15. Remember that?
Yep. That was your hot take.
Dude, he's a large man.
That is a scary man who can move quick. Watching him run at the combine.
Yeah, dude.
You'd be like looking at this dude like,
where
I
do
can
these
run
people
from him.
come from? Like, this is
insane.
You're right. You're right. That's not a normal size.
Can you imagine a man that large running at you that fast? Like,
no, I would be terrified.
What do we think about the fit here for Jordan Davis? Not with the Eagles yet, with the outfit right here.
Yeah, fit wise for me, I'm going like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
Again, like
rocking the icy chain though. Bro.
Like all he would have 8 out of 10 if he didn't have that red stripe going down the middle of his chest.
Yeah, we know you went to Georgia, dude.
There's no need for that though. Like even the pocket square was just, it's just, you know, that's fine. That lets me know you went to Georgia or whatever the hell you went. Yeah, Georgia. You know what I mean? That big red stripe makes him look like he's like
some of these highlights.
He looks like he's like Georgia Man of the Year or like Mr. Georgia.
You know, he's in a beauty contest.
Yeah, like that's kind of how he looks to me. It's like he's wearing a satchel. It's not great. That's all I'm saying.
All right, how about the fit for the Eagles? How do you like it? Putting him next to Fletcher Cox with Javen
Yeah,
Hargrave
I
on
love
that interior.
it. Again, to me, this guy like immediately just stuffs the run game, right?
Yep.
This guy immediately makes your team a juggernaut against the run, and that's a big deal in the NFL because you got to be able to run it to throw it, and so I love the fit, honestly.
I like it too. And, you know, people talk about him as a two-down player. I don't think he is. I think in third down, he's a guy who can command a double team, and he's going to open things up for Fletcher Cox. He's going to open up things for Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, those type of players.
I feel like he's more than a nose tackle, right? Like he can get after it.
Absolutely.
He's athletic. Like I think, you know, he'll definitely make some noise.
So now the Ravens here at
it's Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton.
It's going to be Kyle Hamilton.
It's a lock. I will bet any amount of money. It is 100% happening, and I'm going to fucking hate Kyle Hamilton for the rest of my life.
Kyle Hamilton, my number one player in the draft, still available here at 14. And yeah, for anyone who's ever hated the Ravens,
I loved Lamar Jackson. He still is, in my opinion, one of the most fun. Whether he's good or not, like whatever, he's so entertaining to watch. And he went to the fucking Ravens.
Yeah.
You knew they were going to make it work too, because what the Ravens do is they take guys and they don't go, oh, square peg, round hole. They go, what can you do and how can we work around that and make it fit? And that's why they've been good forever. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks to see. But if it is Kyle Hamilton, this is a great pick. I think it could also be possibly another Georgia player at defensive tackle in Devontae Wyatt because they need help interior. They also need help at corner because we saw last year and especially the year before that they're one injury away from being terrible in that secondary. But then again, Kyle Hamilton fits that. He can play anywhere. I mean, God, it was just so.
Doesn't it just feel like a Ravens pick?
It is. Jordan Davis and Kyle Hamilton were both just Ravens picks.
Yeah. It's 100%. I will bet anything. It's going to happen.
Anyone watching right now want to get in on this? You got a chance to bet for almost anything. Get in on it. I mean, they got Marcus Williams at safety, and then they've got Chuck Clark, who's okay. And these guys, they're good players. I like Marcus Williams. Chuck Clark's fine. But yeah, Kyle Hamilton is obviously going to be better than them. And they just have okay linebackers in former Buckeye Malik Harrison and Patrick Queen, who really hasn't done what people expected out of him out of LSU. So now you got a guy who can play in that secondary, can move up. Bartender, thank you.
Look at that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
45 minutes later than we expected, but
hey,
hey,
listen.
It's here. I mean, they took away last year. This defense is pretty damn good. Marcus Peters coming off an injury. They also have Marlon Humphrey coming off an injury. I mean,
their whole backfield coming off an injury.
Exactly.
Seriously.
J.K. Dobbins coming back. This team, for all those who counted them out last year, thinking, okay, they weren't that good. They were, second place in this division? with all those injuries.
And whenever you play them, you never feel safe because of Lamar Jackson.
Exactly.
I hate playing against him.
Get that.
This pick going to be huge. Hey,
It's
Raiders
Kyle
jersey there. Another guy who killed someone. Just pick after pick. Murderers row.
Get OJ up there.
I'm sure there's an OJ jersey somewhere there in
There's
Vegas.
gotta be in the Bills section.
Oh,
probably.
you know, there's multiple OJ jerseys out there in Vegas. Isn't he living out there now?
Right? Yeah, that sounds right.
Did he get kicked out of that city too? I remember he was in Florida. They kicked him out of the city.
Yeah, he just plays golf and like posts like weird shit online.
All right, here's Kyle Hamilton. It's
such a Ravens pick if it works out this way.
Dude, like you knew this was gonna happen. Like,
what an absolute perfect fit for a stud player in Kyle Hamilton.
yeah.
Number one player on my board. Going into the draft, listen, he didn't do great at the Underwear Olympics, but on the field, this kid is an absolute stud, can do almost anything. At 6'4", the size, the speed, the athleticism, it's ridiculous on the football field. And for the Baltimore Ravens, it could not be, this draft couldn't have worked any better. To just sit there at 14 and have the best player in the draft fall to you, and you're just like, yeah. And you know what? This might be my favorite fit of the night. I like it. It's clean. Kyle Hamilton.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you on the fit. For sure, the best of the night.
6'4", 220 pounds, and now the Texans are on the clock. Moving back from 13. Texans need everything, and they still got a lot of good stuff on the board. They could go wide receiver. They could go corner and Trent McDuffie. They could double up. Why not? They need help everywhere. Maybe they go linebacker, put someone next to former Browns great Christian Kirksey.
Has that guy ever played in a game? Like he's always injured.
He's actually been pretty healthy with the Texans.
Has he been?
Yeah, I mean, with the Browns, we signed him to a $58 million contract.
He never played.
He brought in dog check and then never got to actually dog check in a football game. But last year with them, he put up a average PFF grade of 50. He was pretty good in the pass rush. I mean, yeah, Christian Kirksey was solid. But this is a great spot for a player like Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd. I mean, yeah, the Kyle Hamilton selection just so Baltimore.
We're still waiting. We're 14 picks in. No quarterback selected as of this point.
Nope.
What if you're eyeing the board? Okay, not eyeing Eagle, eyeing the board. Where do you predict the first quarterback is taken?
Let's see. In your mock, you had him picked at 20. That was Malik Willis out of Liberty to the Pittsburgh Steelers. In my mock, I had Desmond Ridder as the first quarterback picked. Not because I think he's the best quarterback, but I thought that was a great fit there for the Tennessee Titans. If anyone's going to pick him early, it will be the Titans because, hey, their coaches know each other. They know what to get, and I think he's basically a Ryan Tannehill type player. And we saw that Ryan Tannehill struggled in the playoffs last year. And God, this Kyle Hamilton, like a pick ago, you were struggling, Drew, over there with the Jameson Williams thing. At least that was good for you. He's a good player.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
just this versatile master on defense, this chess piece on defense goes to the Baltimore Ravens, where it just
you think we wouldn't like chess pieces on defense? Think I would enjoy those things?
You got one, Aiden Hutchinson.
Jesus Christ.
You get Aiden Hutchinson and Kyle Hamilton, all of a sudden your defense is ridiculous.
No, they've got a pretty solid defense. They're just a well-coached football team. They always are, and Kyle Hamilton just fits phenomenal for them. Here we are with the Texans. Who you got for the Texans, Drew?
Do I have?
The pick is in.
I think they can go corner here.
Okay. They took Derek Stingley at 3. Do they double up?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know where I want to go with them now because I think Devin Lloyd is actually a possibility here. That'll be my pick is Devin Lloyd.
I'm going to go Devontae Wyatt. Bobby, who are you going with? You've hit like the last 5 picks.
I'm going to go with Kenyon Green because it shows that that's who they picked. So
Kenyon Green, he nailed it again because he lives in the future.
This guy
Kenyon
can't
Green, a
miss.
guard. I mean, Kenyon Green's a good pick. I like
That's
Kenyon
high
Green
for a
out of
guard,
Texas
no?
A&M. It
high
is,
for a
but they
guard.
need help there. You look at, they got Laramie Tunsil. They got nothing inside. Inside, they're awful. And this guy is a mauler. He can do a little bit of everything. I thought he was a
tell you
top
what,
25
though.
pick.
Yeah, that's true. And if you get like above average guards like the Browns have, and who's that guy for the Cowboys that – sorry, I can't rattle off offensive guards off the top of my head, but I know the Cowboys had like a stellar guard, and it just improves your whole line. So, I mean, if you get above average guard, like I think you could justify it, but it sucks if he doesn't pan out.
Quentin Nelson went 6, and
That's
Quentin Nelson
yeah.
obviously was a stud.
Yeah.
And for the Cowboys, I mean, Zach Martin has been phenomenal out of Notre Dame. They took him, I want to say 20s, somewhere in the 20s. But this is a good pick for them. They need help everywhere. This was a kid I thought would go top 25. Commanders now on the clock at 16 after the
Commanders, here we go.
Washington Commanders, they did trade for a quarterback already this offseason in Carson Wentz. What do we expect out of Carson Wentz this year?
Mediocre football.
I
mean, pretty much what he's done the last 3 years.
You couldn't have left anything open for us to talk about.
So,
You just hit that so dead on the head.
Hey, I think he's going to probably be pretty average. What do you guys think?
I think you're 100%.
What I don't get about I have seen Carson Wentz make some of the like greatest plays I've ever seen a quarterback ever make, especially like that year in Philly before he got hurt. Like some of the throws he made, I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that. Right. And then he'll have games where he's horrible.
Like, he always has at least one play a game though that you're just
terrible turnover.
In the worst possible time.
Yep, 100%.
Hey, we got another trade. Hollywood Brown has been traded from the Ravens to the Cardinals for the number 23 pick. Cardinals also threw in a third-round pick, or the Ravens threw in their third-round pick, number 100. So number 100 and Marquise Brown go. That's man.
Do the Cardinals need another wide receiver?
They lost Christian Kirk, who was a $21 million a year guy.
That's right.
But giving up number 23 for that. That's so the Ravens get a number 23 pick coming up here in 7 or 8 picks. We'll see.
That's out of your division, so
yeah. But Hollywood Brown never scared
that's
me.
In your division.
I was gonna say like.
I
mean, is that a Lamar Jackson problem or is that a Hollywood Brown problem?
A little bit of both. When he got hit, sometimes he dropped the football. He couldn't catch it. He had concentration problems.
Yeah,
which also brings us back to Carson Wentz, who can't concentrate during a whole game and has to make one play a game where he just does the most boneheaded, stupid-ass Brandon Weeden wannabe kind of thing you'll ever see. And now he's with the Washington Commanders, who I thought they were solid last year for what they had.
Yeah, but what's Terry McLaurin doing?
Terry McLaurin's going to get paid here soon, from what we're hearing.
He's better. He has to.
I mean, across from him, you got Diami Brown, who they took in the second round last year. You got Curtis Samuel still there. They got
all the time.
They got Logan Thomas at tight end. Obviously, too early for a tight end. They're loaded absolutely here on defense, but I could see him maybe adding a corner across from Fuller.
They were scrappy last year.
Yeah, and they would have been really good if their defense would have lived up to expectations. This is a spot where, let's see what I had for them with the Commanders. Let me go back a page. That's not backwards, that's forward.
The Commanders.
I mean, they could use a linebacker maybe. They could maybe use maybe they use a right tackle, but I think Bernard Rahman doesn't make sense for them. I think he's perfect actually for the Chargers coming up here next. They could almost go anywhere sitting here. And quarterback would be the most shocking spot for me, but who knows?
Could they go receiver? Another receiver?
Why not? I mean, Curtis Samuel proves he can't stay healthy. He hasn't done anything in a Riverboat Ron offense. I don't know why he ever chose
Ron.
Dammy Brown was just average and showed he's basically
At
a guy
best.
who can run downfield.
I feel like you can't have too many receivers or corners.
Yeah,
I mean,
Trent
I
McDuffie
agree,
would be a
but,
great
like,
spot here.
Damn, these amount of receivers coming off the board is like, Jesus, dude. It's wild.
We got a blockbuster trade brewing here where the Titans are planning to trade wide receiver A.J. Brown to the Eagles.
Okay. Good job.
The Eagles are going to pay him.
So the Eagles pick at 18. I would have to believe that pick's got to be included to get A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Did you see A.J. Brown being moved before Deebo Samuel? I never thought Deebo was going anywhere, but I never thought A.J. Brown would be dealt either.
I agree. I did not see that.
Now all these wide receivers are off the board. You lost Julio Jones, who you traded, a second-round pick for. Now you're giving up A.J. Brown. What are you doing if you're the Titans?
You got to replace A.J. Brown, right?
But there's no one left who can do that. I mean, is Treylon Burks that guy? No, I don't think Treylon Burks is.
No, I agree. Like, that's why, I mean.
She's another receiver.
Yep.
I'd like Dotson, though, man. That dude could play.
John Dotson's one of those guys who people overlooked because of his size, but he can do.
He's a football, he's solid. I don't, maybe his ceiling might not be as high as other players, but, I don't see him having a bad career.
Best hands in the draft, Jahan Dotson. Guy catches anything and everything. Look at him. He's standing there holding a football. He's ready. He's ready to go right now. The guy's ready to ball out. He's ready for training camp. Put a jersey on him. Let's go. The Commanders, you said it. You can't have enough weapons. They added another one. This is a guy who adds to their, Big Ten wide receivers.
Yeah, that's true.
Chargers are already in. They ran up to the board. They need a corner. They need a tackle. They really need a right tackle. But do you go Bernard Rahman out of Central Michigan here? Do you go maybe a Tyler Smith? Or do you get that last piece of the defense with another corner?
I think they go Tyler Smith.
How's their line in front of Herbert?
Right tackle is weak.
Yeah, they got to. I mean, Herbert's Herbert's elite. You just got to get him some protection.
Dude, that Chargers game versus the Browns last year was sickening.
OBJ killed us. Fourth down play. Drop the ball. I mean, the Browns also decided, hey, we're just going to, we're going to let it off a little bit and let them come back into it. Did that way too many times.
Oh, yeah. And then we run the ball up the middle 3 times with 4 minutes left.
That's good offense, man.
When we only scored 50 points before that. What are we afraid of?
Now we got to deal with Kyle Hamilton.
Who are the Steelers going to get?
Malik Willis.
Steelers got Devontae Wyatt just falling to them. And I think that's a perfect Steelers pick. Malik Willis also fits.
Zion Johnson.
Bartender. Yeah.
All right, give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to run to the restroom real quick.
You enjoy that, bud. Go have fun. Zion Johnson, another guard, going number 17 to the Chargers. That is a great pick for them because they do need help on that offensive line. You got to keep the stud in Justin Herbert upright. What do you think about that pick, Bobby?
I think it makes sense if how many Browns quarterbacks did we watch just get absolutely destroyed?
Yeah, we try to throw guys out there with no one covering or blocking for them, and it just kills them. So this is a guy who's been hit a lot. Philadelphia Eagles, now they're announcing they've traded the pick to the Titans. This is a pick where the Titans are coming up from 26 to 18. Going to be interesting to see where the Titans go with this pick. They got all kinds of needs. Robert Woods is on that roster, which I just realized. But let's go back to Zion Johnson. Zion Johnson, a guard out of Boston College, 6'2", 312 pounds, big kid, moves so fluidly as far as a run blocker. He's going to be great to see for Justin Herbert. He's also going to help open up things for their running game. They're basically a corner away from being a really good football team that can do anything in a tough AFC West. That AFC West is a damn good division with Herbert, Russ, Pat Mahomes, Derek Carr. Derek Carr, maybe the
that's ridiculous.
Quarterback.
Think of the coaches in that division too. I mean, I really like the Chargers, man. I mean, I like them, but because they're not a rival of the Browns, but the way that game went, like they rub me the wrong way now.
Yeah, I mean their head coach there from Perry, Ohio.
Yeah, that's right. He went to Dayton, I believe.
Yeah. The A.J. Brown trade details are in. A.J. Brown and will be dealt for picks 18 and a third-round pick. Wow. Not a lot going out for A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is one of the most underrated receivers in the league. Can do almost anything. A big-body receiver. Maybe never got to be as good as he can be dealing with Ryan Tannehill and his inconsistencies.
Yeah. A.J. Brown made some big plays in some big games, though.
He did.
Titans.
So you're looking at who they got left. They got Robert Woods. They got Des Fitzpatrick. Those aren't weapons you really want to go into 2022 with. So with the guys left on the board, you're looking at Sky Moore. You're looking at, possibly a Treylon Burks. Do they go wide receiver here, or do they try to fill another need where they could use possibly linebackers? They could use maybe corners. McDuffie's still there. Jeez, it is. They could use a right tackle. They did pick the kid high who was an absolute bust out of Georgia a couple years ago. Who'd you take if you're the Titans?
I mean, the A.J. Brown trade but there's no way that another receiver goes off the board, right?
I mean, it could, but you're not replacing A.J. Brown with anybody in this draft. That was my thing against the Debo trade, is you're not replacing any of these guys. I mean, there's no one as good as Debo. There's no one as good as A.J. Brown. It's going to be definitely,
mystery box
replaced
mystery
by committee. And Drew, did you know that they had Robert Woods on that roster in Tennessee?
Yes.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. I mean, that was a super early offseason move.
Well, there hasn't been much movement this offseason, so,
This has been the craziest offseason to think. I mean, we were talking about it last week where this offseason we all forgot Malik McDowell walking naked through a Florida street. That was only 3 months ago. 2 months ago, Alvin Kamara beat a dude to near death before the Pro Bowl. And they're like, hey, go ahead and play in the Pro Bowl. It's really important.
It's no big deal.
17 people watch this. We want all 17 to be really happy. And all these trades, it's been insane. And the Titans are here. They need a quarterback. I thought Desmond Ridder fit them. Now they got 18 and 26. Drew, the compensation for A.J. Brown was pick 18 and a third-round pick. Is your mic on, Drew?
Uh-oh.
Sorry, boys. Sorry.
There we go.
It's a little bit richer than I expected, to be honest with you. With a third-round pick, but I'm okay with it. To your point earlier, it's not like the mystery box thing. Like, give me a proven receiver. And we know A.J. Brown is. We know he wanted out. And so, listen, is he better than Deebo Samuel? It all depends. Like, is Deebo Samuel in a new role where he's not like doing everything as valuable as A.J. Brown? I don't know if he is. So maybe it is fair value. But I love that they went out and made a splash. And
yeah.
And I mean, we'll see what happens.
They've taken Jalen Reagor. Didn't work out. I mean, they keep going to the well to try to get that wide receiver spot right, and they haven't. So why not get the proven commodity where we do talk about on this show all the time? Mystery box, mystery box, mystery box. 18 and a third, I would give that up all day, every day for A.J. Brown. I thought it should have been more. I think A.J. Brown's a hell of a football player.
That's fair.
I think I'm going to have to eat something here soon because I'm starting to feel the bartender's drinks.
I'm eating something right now. I'm smashing on these wings.
What kind of wings you having over there?
The air fryer wings?
No, I actually went to B-Dubs earlier before the show. I have some Nashville hot and some Jammin' Jalapeno, I believe it's called.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Jeremy, me and Drew have some stories from B-Dubs.
Oh, yeah. I essentially got kicked out of a B-Dubs once.
Let's hear this story right now while we're waiting for a pick to come in.
We all did.
We had gotten there earlier. And we were, drinking, watching football, and I was watching the Lions game, and apparently, like, I had a lot of drinks, stood up on the bar stool, like, cheering on the Lions.
To be honest with you, it felt somewhat normal. It just wasn't appropriate behavior in public. And we might have, because every NFL game was on, and the Browns were playing, the Lions were playing. It was one of those Sundays, and we got over our skis a little bit, and things got away from us.
Sounds about right.
Just dudes being dudes.
Yeah, and for some reason they cut us off. They wouldn't let any of us drive for some reason.
How dare they?
And then
That's
it's all right though. These things happen. I mean,
That's
things happen.
That's right.
Drew, we need you on story time for our FCFS Pod TikTok, which people are watching right now. Check out our FCFS Pod TikTok, where we do story time and other random things. Treylon Burks is the pick.
Another wide receiver.
18.
dude.
Another wide receiver.
And
So if this offseason it's just screaming that NFL GMs view wide receiver as a top 3 or 4 position.
absolutely right. But you don't want to pay top dollar for it. Otherwise, you would have kept A.J. Brown.
That's true.
And Treylon Burks is a really good player. He is the closest thing to Deebo Samuel to me because he can do a little bit of everything. But the problem with Treylon Burks is at Arkansas, he never really mastered the route tree. So this is a guy who reminds me a lot of a former Browns player, actually, in Corey Coleman, who had skills beyond belief, but could not run a route tree to save his life. And when he did, he couldn't always catch the football. He had
I was going to
mental
say, that guy
lapses.
had Stonehenge. Remember the 0-15 game versus the Steelers?
Deshaun Kaiser hitting him against Steelers.
Right between the numbers. Right between the numbers. And it's just
So
this is fitting.
At that time, I was covering the Browns for the Cleveland Sports Report. And
Oof, that's a rough year, man.
getting to know Corey Coleman, I learned that he loved 2 things more than football, and I've mentioned on this show a couple times. He loved shoes and he loved pussy. That was what he was in the game for. Those are the 2 things he loved more than anything. And he got it all. He had tons of shoes and he got tons of chicks. So good for him. But
Good for him, Corey.
Treylon Burks, he can do a little bit of everything. Mel Kiper's comparison or ESPN's comparison is A.J. Brown. To me, he can do a little bit of Deebo Samuel stuff. He's just not as big. And he was never asked to do the full route tree. So where A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel could run the full route tree and do a little bit of everything, Treylon Burks hasn't learned that yet. So it's going to be on the coaches to really get him to be that guy. Pick number 18 in the first round. Drew, what do you think about this pick?
It's funny because they're comparing him and AJ Brown, right? Like that's the comparison. So you just essentially said you're taking the cheaper way out,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But again, you're not replacing immediate talent like you had with AJ Brown.
No.
Like these guys aren't going to just step in and dominate. We've seen that. Guys have great rookie seasons, but that's not the norm. They need to ease into things. So you're all of a sudden trying to replace what AJ Brown does with Treylon Burks, and it's just it's going to take time, right? And your quarterback is still yet to be seen if he can get the job done in the first place. And so, are you more relying on the run game? You lost one of your best playmakers. It's just.
Let me ask you guys this. All right, so if you're the Titans, if you're not going to pay AJ Brown, who are you going to pay? I think Tannehill comes off the books after next year.
Yep.
Obviously, you got to pay Henry appropriately. But who are they holding this cap room for?
I mean, King Henry got his money. He's not going to get any more money from them. You look at Taylor Lewan's making a good amount of money on their. They got Austin Hooper now. They
Dude, that guy is enough to haunt a house.
I mean, they've got some solid players. You got Kevin Byard still there. He's done well. He's going to get more money soon. Darnell Autry. It's really coming down to eventually they're going to have to pay Jeffrey Simmons. And that's where the money's going to go. It's going to go into their interior. They're basically going to run the Chiefs kind of idea where eventually you got to get rid of your wide receiver. You're going to pay your interior lineman. You're going to pay your quarterback. But Tannehill, he's coming off the books next year at 26. This is where I really think Desmond Ridder fits. I think it's falling to be maybe that guy. And we're coming up here on the Saints. The pick is in number 19. But I think that's where the Titans are going to go. They're going to take that money that was set aside possibly for A.J. Brown. And it's going to go to Jeffrey Simmons now. And I think, hey, if Treylon Burks works out, this is a great idea. If it doesn't, you traded A.J. Brown for the mystery box.
Exactly.
That needs a lot of
you
work.
hope that Treylon Burks becomes A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you hope.
Treylon Burks wasn't even in my top 32 players.
Wow. I mean, the run of receivers has been insanity.
This is crazy. And I think there's only been 2 corners taking him, right? Or
Trent McDuffie's still on the board. He was my 3rd corner. Andrew Booth's still out there. He was my 4th. Yeah.
There's got to be other corners coming up.
I mean, the Saints are on the clock now. They still need a wide receiver. I doubt they're going to take one. They still need a tackle. Bernard Rahman's still there. And I got quarterback as their 3rd need. But they're going to need a left tackle. I mean, going into this season, their left tackle, they just lost Terran Armstead to the Dolphins. Right now, their starting left tackle, if I can get my notes to load up here, is James Hurst, who is average at best. If you want Jameis coming off ACL injury to stay upright, you got to add someone who's going to be better. Do you add the Tyler Smith here? Do you add the Bernard Rahman? Or do you go, hey, let's just keep slinging it? Or maybe you add another guy across from Marshawn Lattimore. For me, I think they got to go with a tackle here. Who do you guys say?
Yep, I agree with you. I mean, they potentially would have been interested in another playmaker here, but like they're all gone, right? Yeah. And so now you just got to go, solidify your offensive line and go from there. I mean, I think their roster is still worthy of winning football games, right? It's not like it's a depleted roster in New Orleans.
Look at
they
this.
Might have been a playoff team had Jameis stayed healthy. They were like 5-2 before Jameis got hurt.
Yeah.
Dude, I like Jameis. Like,
me too. I love Jameis.
Hey, no one eats W's.
Yeah, that's
better
right.
than Jameis.
Like
because in it is Trevor Penning, an offensive tackle out of northern Iowa. I like Trevor Penning. Now, this guy, there are issues with him off the field. We'll see if they carry on. Does he love the football game? Is he going to work hard? Is he going to stay fighting? We'll see. But, hey, that's a guy at left tackle who I think is better than James Hurst eventually. It's a good pick for them. And now, the Saints coming out of this draft, they're looking pretty good with their first 2 picks. I kind of like them. How you like Trevor Penning, Drew? Are you muted again, Drew?
Yeah, I'm mute there, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to I'm eating these wings and I'm like not trying to in people's faces and stuff. No, I think that would be that's a good pick. Like when you can solidify things up front, that's the way again to move forward. And I'm all aboard.
Yeah, they got Olave with pick 11. They traded up for it. Now you got Trevor Penning. So we're up to the Steelers now.
Is this the Malik Willis pick?
Malik Willis piss works too.
Piss, whatever.
It also Devontae Wyatt fits. This is a team that they can do almost anything. It all seems eventually trading down. I don't think they do. Bobby, what do you think Steelers are doing here?
Apparently, they love Malik, but I don't know about that guy.
Oh, I agree.
Jordan Love with more speed. That's what he is. I mean, yeah, they love him. And yeah, Mike Tomlin said going into the offseason he wants a quarterback who's more mobile. So they went out and got Mitchie, Drew's favorite quarterback in the entire NFL.
That's right.
I mean, There's no one he'd rather have. He wanted him in Detroit. He didn't get him, though. He chose the Steelers. And Mitchie, the pick is in for the Steelers. We'll be interested to see who it is. But, I mean, this is Devontae Wyatt. I think Devontae Wyatt's perfect Pittsburgh Steeler. But is this the first quarterback off the board? What if they
went with the hometown kid?
Kenny Pickett?
I don't know. Is he from Pittsburgh or did he just go to Pittsburgh?
I think he just went there.
Went there, I think.
But he's still the hometown kid, kind of.
I don't know. Bartenders pour some pretty strong drinks right now. I'm starting to feel like Trayvon Diggs style draft from a couple of years ago. I think I need to find a water here and maybe eat something. Plus, I haven't drank in a long time, so this is starting to kick in. This is getting a little fun.
That's That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, Steelers can go anywhere. They need a lot of help. They could possibly even go wide receiver. Drew, I look back at our notes from 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whenever the last show we talked about this was. It's 3 weeks ago. We had 7 first-round wide receivers is what we said. We are at 6 right now through pick 20.
All right.
The Steelers, I got them needing a quarterback, a tackle, and a wide receiver. The pick is in. You look at the best quarterback on the board, it's basically Sam Howell to me. Every team's going to be different. As far as tackle, Bernard Rahman's still there. They do need help. A.J. Brown just signed and got a $100 million deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. Wow, they're moving quick on this.
I'm not sure that they take a quarterback here.
I think they can get us. They can trade back into either the end of the first round, like the Ravens did when they got Lamar Jackson at 32, or they can wait until the second round. I think you're sitting there. Every quarterback is still available at 20. And Drew, this is where you had your first quarterback going at Malik Willis at 20. I had mine first at 26. This is
my buddy just texted me the pick.
Yeah, who is it?
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett, the Pittsburgh kid who had 38 fumbles at Pitt with the small hands. Myles Garrett is going to eat this guy alive. Kenny Pickett's he's a solid player, but is he that much better than Mason Rudolph was coming out? Obviously, we know who Mason Rudolph is at this point. But Mason Rudolph coming out was a guy who looked like a solid kid who had a strong arm. He was accurate. Kenny Pickett, really? What do you think about Kenny Pickett? Kenny Pickett scare you, Bobby?
No.
At all?
I enjoy watching him. I always thought he was like a tough football player, the kind of quarterback that, the defensive position and the whole locker room could really get behind. But I just don't know how his game translates into the NFL, and especially when you look at the way the NFL is going at the quarterback position. Like, I don't know if – but then again, the Steelers front office probably knows more about football than I do, so he's probably not too bad.
That's not always true. They're about to lose their GM here, but best game I watched for Kenny Pickett was against Duke, and Duke wasn't very good. His worst game I watched with him was Clemson in 2020, and Clemson was pretty damn good in 2020. Now, the thing with Kenny Pickett is, yeah, he's got the small hands, but he obviously played in Pittsburgh, so the weather's not going to be a bother to him. And he also wasn't really that great until about last year, and he's also 24 years old. This is an older quarterback.
I didn't know that.
Coming in, I mean, he was playing 24 years old against 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. Usually, when you're the bigger kid, the older kid, you're throwing better against the younger kids. I don't care where you are. What do you think about Kenny Pickett, Drew?
I mean, listen, I understand the theory that he has small hands.
Why doesn't anybody talk about that?
Right. I've never heard anybody say anything about his hand size, which I'm just going to bring this up. He has small hands. I wish people would have noticed this during the draft process. Clearly, it was only me. No, but like
breaking news.
He played football in cold weather, literally in Pittsburgh. Literally
38 fumbles, though.
I mean, yeah, Deion Jones has tons of fumbles as well. Like, I get it, but like again, is this a reach? This tells me how confident they feel about Mitch Trubisky, right?
But Mitch signed a 2-year, $14 million deal. This is to teach Kenny Pickett, but Kenny Pickett's almost as old as Mitch. Mitch is 28. I mean, Kenny Pickett's coming in as a 24-year-old rookie. Now, my comparison for Kenny Pickett was Andy Dalton. Would you take Andy Dalton in his career at pick 20?
You think like that's his ceiling?
I think it is. And Andy Dalton, don't get me wrong, he was solid with the Bengals. He got him to the playoffs. They just couldn't win a playoff game. But, I mean, there's no glaring issues with his mechanics. But he aligns himself when he throws. I appreciate that. Like, this is the one guy you watch where every time he's going to throw, his mechanics were great. You never had to worry about it. Like Howell, you'd see amazing throws and then garbage. With Malik Willis, you saw him just, hey, I'm athletic and really good. I can do this. And now with Kenny Pickett, hey, he gets to stay there in Pittsburgh. Good for him. Good for the kid. I'm happy for him, but
Was he not expected to get drafted or something? Like what's going on here?
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Apparently.
Good for Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, good for
I like him,
Harvard,
dude.
New Jersey.
Good for Kenny.
Good for Kenny, but
he's my sworn enemy now, though.
Yeah, it doesn't scare me at all as a Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, even though Duck Hodges beat the Browns and Mike Tomlin's a hell of a football coach. Kenny Pickett eventually, I think he starts by week 10, but I don't think he starts the season. 6'3", 217 pounds. He's a solid kid. I mean, he's not very athletic. I don't think he's much. I mean, for what Tomlin said he wanted, I don't think that guy actually fits. But, I mean, he plays home games. He's used to playing in Heinz Field. He knows how to throw. He's good at throwing off his spot.
Doesn't he just feel like a college quarterback, though? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's too simple, but, like, if you're going to be a first-round quarterback at Pitt, like, you should be fucking amazing at Pitt. Like,
yeah. I mean, he was a Heisman finalist. He was fine. He was good.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, don't get me wrong. But, like, I don't know. Like, when Michael Vick went to Virginia Tech, you're like, holy shit, this guy's different. Now, granted, he went first overall, but, like, I don't know.
Kenny Pickett, good player, solid player. I mean, he's like picking Mac Jones to me. Like, Mac Jones is just okay. But I would take Mac Jones Mac Jones could have been like the number 2 overall pick. There's another trade. Patriots have traded the pick. They're trading it to the Chiefs. The Chiefs have 2 first-round picks. What are they giving up to move up about, let's see. They picked at 29, and they're moving up to 21.
Work for the NFL or something? Like, how do you, like, I got like 2 TVs with drafts on different channels. How are you getting this information, sir?
I got
and you called Kenny Pickett 6 hours before it happened.
Yeah, the pick is in already for the Chiefs. Who we like for the Chiefs take here? What the Chiefs move up for? They need a wide receiver.
They probably need a quarterback.
Yeah, that Pat Mahomes guy. And his froggy little voice. I can't even do my Pat Mahomes voice right now. I have drank way too much. But speaking of which, I might need a refill here. But the Chiefs, I got them needing wide receiver, defensive line, and possibly a cornerback. This would be a great spot for Trent McDuffie or Andrew Booth.
Yep, I agree with that.
Dude, Booger McFarland just showed his left hand. It was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen.
Is it just mangled?
It's destroyed.
Like Antonio Freeman destroyed?
Just like crooked.
It's not great. It's not great.
Good old Booger.
Kenny Pickett just finally stood up.
It's been a rough hour for him since he was picked.
He had no idea he was going to get drafted.
I'm in the NFL? Me? Kenny Pickett?
It is kind of cool he's going to play his, like, pro games where he played his college games.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be factored into that decision as a guy who knows the wind. Heinz Field has weird wind. It's a weird field to play on. It's got to matter to them. And, yeah, he may not be as athletic as, Mike Tomlin wanted in a guy. But this is Kevin Colbert's final first-round pick as the Steelers GM, and Kevin Colbert's been amazing at picking wideouts and other players throughout his tenure. And now he picks his first-round quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger.
Pittsburgh has sneaky good wide receivers, too.
They do. Deontay Johnson has been a stud for them.
I think Claypool could be – his ceiling is, like, insane. Like, he could be a top 3 receiver. I don't know if he will be, but, like, he has shown some glimpses of being excellent.
He has, and I think Ben helped him with a lot of that. And Chase Claypool, being the size he is, I mean, he was compared to Megatron coming out, and that was just based on size and speed. But does this guy care enough about football to keep developing?
Yeah. He had some weird plays last year.
He did, and he likes to talk a lot of shit and not back it up.
When time's running out.
Yeah. Don't gloat. I mean, that's why they had to get rid of Juju. So the Chiefs move up. They gave up 29 and a 22 third and fourth round pick to to move up 8 spots. So the Chiefs will pick at 21, and they will pick at 30. I think this is a spot for a cornerback. What say you guys?
I would agree with you.
Okay. Who you like? Trent McDuffie, Andrew Booth?
Andrew Booth is where I'm kind of. Andrew Booth's where I'm at. You like McDuffie?
That's who they picked.
McDuffie. That pick makes a ton of sense. I thought Trent McDuffie was a top 15 pick, and that is a great pick for the Kansas City Chiefs, who just continue to kill it. They replace guy after guy with cheaper guys, and I mean they still have to eventually replace what Tyreek Hill gave him. I don't think Mecole Hardman is that guy. I think we've seen that Mecole Hardman's fast, but he's not obviously Tyreek Hill. Eventually, you're going to have to add another guy other than Josh Gordon, who I think is still with them. Josh Gordon, 10 years ago, stud.
He had one of the greatest seasons of it was like a top 15 wide receiver season, and he only played in 14 games.
Yep. 1,600 yards, like 18 touchdowns with Brandon Whedon, Jason Campbell, and like Colt McCoy. Like just studs.
Didn't he have 5 straight 100-yard games or something ignorant like that?
Yeah, and he had, I think, 3 straight 200-yard games that year.
Jesus.
One of them against the vaunted Patriots defense at the time.
Blew it. We blew that game. It was a pass interference call on a Hail Mary. Dude.
Going back to when I covered the Browns, Josh Gordon, first day I talked to him, I asked him straight out, I'm like, are your drug issues behind you? Oh, yeah, man. I'm in the NFL now. It's time to grow up. I don't think he lied to me at all, but yeah.
Dude, it's tough, man. Like, the guy clearly has a problem. But isn't it kind of easy, though, to be the Chiefs GM when you have Patrick Mahomes? Like, you're never going to be – and Andy Reid as his coach – I mean,
sure.
You're never going to lose less than 10 win less than 10 games, right?
But you still have to keep that team around him after you gave the kid a $500 million contract. And you've got to build through the draft to keep going forward. And you gave up Tyreek Hill, who horrible human being, but hell of a football player. And now you've got all these picks. You have to hit on a lot of them to keep going forward and keep leading,
Sure.
The Chiefs and Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, who's not getting any younger, 2 Super Bowls. So the Packers are on the clock now at 22. Their pick is in. They traded Devontae Adams for this pick. You're not going to replace Devontae Adams with one guy, but they don't have anyone. They signed Sammy Watkins, who, 8 years ago we would have been like, Sammy Watkins. That guy's
still alive?
Yeah.
Right.
He plays 6 games a year. He's still supposedly fast-ish.
I feel like there's one play every playoff game that or every playoff season that Sammy Watkins will have a big 30-yard catch out of nowhere where you're like, what?
Sammy Watkins, that dude who you need that one play, he's there. But where was he the rest of the year? Because they've got nobody. They lost Marquise Valdez-Scantling. Right now, Alan Lazard is their number 1 guy. They signed Aaron Rodgers to a $50 million deal. They need help on the line. They need help at wide receiver. They could do another edge player. I mean, you need interior line help. Who's left? Do you go with, a guy like Tyler Linderbaum, who would be a great pickup at center, but he's got short arms. We don't know what he's going to be at center. He could struggle.
Alligator arms.
Alligator arms? He's like a T-Rex out there, bud.
Think about all of the needs that you just rattled off, and the Packers were awesome in the regular season last year.
That's how good. And I mean, we talk about quarterback being the most important position in sports. Aaron Rodgers, pretty damn good at football.
It helps.
Yeah. But man, without Devontae Adams this year.
Yeah, that's true.
That was his security blanket, right? Like he dump it off, throw it deep. Yep. They just had such a good connection.
Playoff game against San Francisco, it was Devontae Adams or nothing. Right now, you got Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, Robert Tonyan, and Sammy Watkins.
That's not good.
That's not good. That
sounds like the Lakers roster of football.
Just a bunch of random dudes in LeBron.
Quay Walker. That's Jeremy's guy, Quay Walker.
Quay Walker is 6'4", rangy linebacker out of Georgia. Surprised he went ahead into Kobe Dean and Devin Lloyd. but this kid can do a little bit of everything. If you use him properly and allow him to do what he's comfortable with, which I think they can do, because right now in their base personnel, you're starting, let's see, you got Devondre Campbell, who we all know is very good. And then they had, let me make sure I got this right, Chris Barnes, who was okay as second, third year player, but this kid can do everything. Literally everything. The Ravens have traded their pick, number 23, to the Bills. So the Ravens traded this pick, or got this pick from the Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown trade. The Bills, who picked at 25, said, hey, we got to jump over the Cowboys at 24. I think this is going to be possibly a Devontae Wyatt kind of move. But going back to Quay Walker, is this where you expected the Packers to go, or did you think they had to go wide receiver here, thinking they had to pick up someone to replace kind of Devontae Adams?
They missed the boat, man. Like
I mean, Sky Moore wasn't the guy. George Pickens wouldn't have fit for you, or do you think they're going to be there again?
I think that's reaching at this point. They missed the boat, right? Like the boat came. Like the Lions decided they were just going to come up and just draft some shit out of nowhere. And then the boat started going down the river, and then here's another guy, here's another guy, here's another guy. I mean, they're too late. They're too late. You can't just go to pick a guy just because he's a wide receiver.
I think George Pickens might still be the pick later on.
I'm not upset with that. The Green Bay Packers continue to never surround Aaron Rodgers with any talent on the outside. That's their deal. That's what they do. That's what they're going to continue to do. Devontae Adams leaves. You bring in Sammy Watkins, and we're like, okay. That seems to me to be a downgrade, in my opinion.
Bold take, Drew.
Yeah, right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it just seems to be bold. But Buffalo could do anything here. Like, Buffalo.
Dude, so how about is that the third defensive player out of Georgia taken in the first round?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, and there may be a couple more.
That defense was loaded.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. Like, when we think about the first pick of the draft, Trayvon Walker, he only had 6 sacks last year.
And at first you're like, that's terrible, but then you think like, well, I mean, that whole defense was
well, right, and it's like you evaluate one or the other. It's like, oh, did he not have a lot of, like, he should have had more sacks because he played with the best defense ever, or
yeah, I can see that argument.
You know what I mean? But like, he shot up the board, and for him to be the number 1 pick it wasn't even talked about when we were heading into the offseason.
No, I think it's not like he had certain stats or he stood out on tape. It's just like, this guy's a freak. We'll figure it out. Like, we just need him on our team. Like, he's a specimen.
You guys talking about me? Specimen.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I got back.
We didn't realize you were back yet. That's kind of embarrassing.
This is awkward, dude.
Yeah, this is embarrassing.
It happens, boys. It happens. Bills on the clock. 3 minutes left or so. Where are the Bills going?
That's what we were just talking about. Like,
they taking a running back here?
No.
It's not a Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker situation.
No, but dude, I want
Kenneth Walker
there. I want Kenneth Walker in Buffalo. I think not in the first round.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kenneth Walker rushed for 1,200 to 1,400 yards next year.
I think Kenneth Walker is a perfect zone running team kind of guy. I think he can run zone run team like a Cleveland Browns type, Minnesota Vikings type offense. Anything Kubiak related or Shanahan related, I think he's a stud.
Like kind of a better D'Ernest Johnson.
Yeah, I like D'Ernest.
I love him, man. He's an excellent runner in my opinion. He gets the most out of his abilities.
Absolutely.
He's got a good story, too. He seems like a decent dude.
Yep. Hanging out in fishing boats and decided to get back in the NFL.
Yeah. Crazy.
What about Sky Moore here? Throw another slot guy in for the Bills. I mean, guy to learn behind Jamison Crowder, maybe?
See, that's the thing. Like, I think this is just too early.
Okay.
Because, like, again, I think like we don't need to just at this point you can't just reach for wide receivers just because they're all coming off the board. Like, the run of wide receivers that we've seen is incredible.
What has it been, 7?
6 as of
6.
this point. What about Devontae Wyatt to put next to Ed Oliver?
Another Georgia defender,
Yeah,
off the board. He's coming sooner than later. I mean,
he's got off-field issues.
It. Yeah,
but
listen, off-field issues are not a big deal. When it comes to the
Apparently.
NFL.
It's the NFL, man.
Yeah, when it goes to the NFL,
do you have talent?
Yeah,
Yes.
Exactly.
Nothing else matters.
off-field issues.
What about Andrew Booth to replace Dane Jackson as their second corner right there?
I'm actually surprised that there's a couple corners left on the board that I thought would have gone earlier. I don't dislike that pick at all.
I mean, looking at what they need, this could be, maybe they go Tyler Linderbaum, maybe the T-Rex, dominating center out of Iowa. Maybe this is a spot for him because they could use a guard center type player right now.
Yeah,
maybe that helps Devin Singletary.
Is
JD
his
McKissick,
position
whoever's back there?
In his position too, like center guard, you're not going to go high in the draft, right? So
you got to be a stud.
Point,
I mean, we've had 2 guards go so far, but they're studs probably at that position. They're not Quentin Nelson type studs, Zach Martin type studs, but they're damn good.
A center's even more rare.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you can slip in the draft, and this is the kind of guy that you can plug and play immediately.
I think he is.
Right? Like, this isn't going to be a guy that you have to, kind of, get in slowly and see what things happen.
The pick is Kyer Elam out of Florida.
And that's
guy who was slowly crawling up boards. I think Andrew Booth is better than him, but hey, this is a good fit. He's going to go across from, a Pro Bowl caliber All Pro corner in Tre'Davious White.
Yeah,
it's another guy to really help them dominate. This is a roster that's really good. They have few holes, but I think running back eventually is going to need to be something they really look at because Devin Singletary, they don't want to give him the ball enough, and then when they do, maybe they don't get enough out of him. I mean, J.D. McKissick is obviously a receiving back. They're going to need help there. Now the Cowboys are on the clock.
So let me pose a question to you guys. It seems like we kind of touched on this earlier, but we keep seeing the same positions, same 3 or 4 here. What if you're a GM building a football team, what are the 5 most important positions that you
Drew, let's take this first.
Left tackle, quarterback, defensive end, linebacker, cornerback.
So no receiver.
I think we've seen this year that receiver is one of the top 3 picks.
This is insane, right?
Because
but I think
do you want to pay them? That's a different story. But you see the amount of money. I think it's the second or third highest paid position, or no, it's the second highest paid position.
Tons of receivers in the league that have been drafted in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round that are just as productive.
But if you're he was asking if you were building a team. For me, it's quarterback, left tackle, corner, edge rusher, and then wide receiver. I think you need all those guys. Obviously, you need a guy to throw the ball. You need a guy to block for him. You need a guy to catch it. I mean, running back probably.
You can find running backs, man.
I feel like you can.
Yeah. And you don't really have to, we have Nick Chubb, at 3 years, $36 million? Okay. That's easy unbelievable.
Oh, there's Jerry.
Good old Jerry.
Jerry.
Just over 4 minutes left on the clock for the Cowboys. They need offensive line help. They need defensive line help. They need linebacker help because outside of Micah, who was an absolute stud, I mean, what are you getting out of Van Der Esch? He's up and down halftime. Interior, you need help there. Neville Gallimore was okay. I mean, you could use another edge rusher. Maybe this is a Jermaine Johnson spot. Maybe you look at safety. They could go anywhere, really. Except for maybe tight end. They could even go wide receiver if they wanted to. But I doubt it. I think this is a perfect spot for Devontae Wyatt. But I think I've said that like the last 3 picks. Is he becoming Trayvon Diggs?
Maybe.
But Devontae Wyatt, I think this kid's absolutely loaded with talent. And I thought he was better than Jordan Davis because I thought he could do a little bit of everything. They do need help in the interior. Where do you guys think the Cowboys? What the hell am I watching with a chubby dude on a hula hoop?
What?
He was adorable.
I got multiple channels on. I don't see a dude with a hula
You didn't
hoop.
see the chubby dude in a hula hoop?
No.
Oh, you missed it. That's good entertainment. That's Vegas style entertainment. I just spilled my drink on my hand. But yeah.
Drew, didn't you live right by the old Cowboys facility?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I lived across the street from it.
Huh.
Yep. Over there in Valley Ranch, Texas.
Good old Valley Ranch.
Good old Valley Ranch.
What was that course we played?
We probably played multiple ones.
It was the Pete Dye one.
Oh, Stonebridge Ranch.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Everything
That was
ranch over there?
Difficult course.
Yeah.
Oh, Cowboys fans.
So what do the Cowboys do here?
I think you need to rebuild the center of that defense. I mean, why not go Devontae Wyatt? Neville Gallimore was okay. I mean, next to him, you've got, Carlos Watkins, who he's been in the league a few years out of Clemson. He's okay. Why not try to get that stud to go in there to help your guys off the edge and DeMarcus Lawrence, Dante Fowler Jr., who they added, or Micah Parsons. Help them out with the center guy like that, especially in the division they're in, where they're going to face a bunch of random-ass – I'm going to get to this in a second. The pick is in. We'll get back to that. I just stopped talking with my thought. And the pick is in, but we won't know who it is.
How far do you think Jermaine Johnson slides down the board?
Going into this draft, I didn't think he was as good as the combine made him seem. So I could see him being a late, maybe he's picked 31, 32, somewhere around there, or he slides in the second round. I did have him at 7 in my mock because I took a bunch of, edge rushers early, but there's always that one guy, like a Drake Jackson or someone who's going to go in this first round who's going to be just like, oh, wow, that guy went in the first round? I feel like we really haven't had that yet.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
So, Jeremy, admittedly, I haven't done a lot of research for the Browns. Who should I be looking for us to take tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I would say defense tackle like, hang on a second, I had him in my head again. Logan Hall out of Houston. That's a guy I would look at. I look at maybe George Pickens if he slides to that point and the Browns think they can get him to love football. I think that guy's got a few red flags off the field, but if he cares, he could be the best receiver in this draft. He's that good.
Dude, we love guys with red flags.
I know, we do. And I mean, Andrew Berry.
Quarterback.
Thing with Andrew Berry is he's so sneaky. Like, he'll just be like, you know what, I'm going to wait and let, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah fall to me. I'm going to let, anybody fall to us. He's been so good at that. But I think they could also move up. But I think Logan Hall or Tyler Smith, offensive tackle, went to the Cowboys. They did go on the – I mean, I guess that's a good pick. I mean, they can play him at right tackle. I think they look interior line. Maybe if a Jermaine Johnson falls to them, they go defensive end or edge rusher. Travis Jones could be another guy. I think it's a defensive line or a wide receiver guy for sure.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I think that's where they really need to pick up. You need to strengthen your defensive line, whether you sign Clowney or not. I think you need to get better at wide receiver, whether they re-sign Jarvis Landry or not. So for the Browns, that's the way they're probably going to head. This pick for the Cowboys, interesting, because I don't know, Tyler Smith's okay. I don't think he was in my top 32 here. No, he was not. And now we've got Baltimore back on the clock at pick 25. They've traded Hollywood Brown. They dropped down from 23, added more picks. They've added Kyle Hamilton. Baltimore's still sitting here with Devontae Wyatt. I'm going to go Devontae Wyatt again because I thought he should have been the pick at 14.
Devontae Wyatt.
I don't want to say it again, but he's a perfect player for them. It's also a great spot for Nakobe Dean. It's a great spot for Devin Lloyd, 2 guys I thought were top 20 players.
Yeah.
And they need help there. We've still got Andrew Booth on the clock or on the board at this point, who's my third ranked corner, or my fourth ranked corner. Sorry. The Ravens just, man, this shit keeps falling to them. Damn.
It just seems to be that way, right?
It always does. They're a smart team. They draft well.
Yeah. I mean, good teams, good things tend to happen to good teams, right?
Good things happen
to good teams.
They've had a really good run of good GMs and good coaches.
Yep.
And
I'll do it.
One of the greatest Browns of all time, Ozzie Newsome.
Led by, taught and learned everything he could from Bill Belichick, and then just was like, you know what, Bill, you're not great at the draft. I'm going to be better than you. This is also a great spot for David Ojabo. Like, Ojabo was a first-round pick, maybe a top 15 guy. He was hurt towards Achilles, but
big time injury. I mean, and that's what you link to kind of the Aiden Hutchinson pick as well. Like,
yeah, I
mean, he had Jabo on the other side, and they kind of got after it, but it's tough to take him based off the injury. Even I think it was the pro day. That just sucks, man. And I feel bad for a guy that kind of blows out a knee during pro day.
Yeah,
it's a tough scene.
Sitting here, the Ravens, about 4 minutes left or so. They haven't put in their pick. Are they possibly talking trade here, or do you think they're going to end up taking this pick?
Well, I see. This is they're on the phone, right? It feels like one of those. Okay, yeah, they're on the phone. Let's figure out. I tend to think that they'll make the pick.
This is a spot where maybe I talked about it. George Pickens, excellent football player. This is a team that takes in guys with any kinds of issues, and they did just trade away Hollywood Brown. Right now, Devin DuVernay, Rashad Bateman, who they picked, those are their starting wide receivers. There's a spot where Sky Moore, George Pickens goes. Do they try to replace, kind of like Tennessee did, where they're like, we traded away one guy, we're going to replace him with this guy?
What would you say that the safer pick is between Sky Moore and George Pickens? Who's a safer pick?
The safer pick is Sky Moore. Sky Moore is shifty as all hell, and he can do almost anything, but I feel like that's Devin DuVernay all over again. I kind of think you're picking up the same guys, but what you've shown with Lamar Jackson is that your underneath guys seem to be your better receivers, so it would fit more. But George Pickens is just he's that guy that you're going to pick, and you see what he can do on the field, but does he give a damn? Who you're going to pick him, and if he works out, you're golden. But if he doesn't, you're losing your damn job.
Hey, guys, I got to go.
All right, bud. Hey.
Bob, you have a great night. Thanks for
letting me hang out, man. It was fun.
Yeah, thanks
Anytime.
for hanging out, bud.
All right, take care.
You do the same. So now we are stuck in 3-person mode here. Let me go back, and we're back in 2-player mode. Bobby, thank you so much for joining us. That was a lot of fun, especially once I could see him and see him that he was a real human being and not Drew just talking to himself the whole time. Which was kind of fun for a little bit.
Yeah,
So we got 2 minutes left. The Ravens still on the clock. People signing Subway sandwiches. Shit going down there, painting them. I'm not sure what's going on. As I turn to my TV to see the draft coverage here in Vegas, I feel like Vegas isn't as packed as Nashville was. Nashville was insane. I felt Cleveland was insane.
Detroit,
Vegas isn't as full as I expected it to be.
I mean, it's kind of Vegas. Like,
but
do people go to Vegas for the draft? So, here's the other thing about the draft is it's a long ass thing, right? Like, we got on here at 8, and we're going to be in here till 11:30.
We're at almost 3 hours.
Yeah, that's a long time. So, people aren't going to just sit around for all that. Vegas is fast moving, right? People are going, doing things. And I think that maybe potentially that's kind of a difference there.
What pick would surprise you if you were with the Ravens? What position would you be other than quarterback, maybe or running back? What would you be like, whoa, the Ravens did that? Or even running back?
Well, no, running back. Yeah, running back would really surprise me. I would say a safety.
Okay. That would make sense after they took Kyle Hamilton. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say a tackle maybe, but they do need help at tackle. Ronnie Stanley wasn't very good last year. They did trade Orlando Brown. Is this a Bernard Rahman spot?
It's such a tough offense to be a tackle in,
Mm-hmm.
just based off of the way that Lamar Jackson moves, and like it's rough on an offensive line when you have a quarterback that's kind of getting out of the pocket frequently. It makes the job that much tougher.
Yeah. Pick is in. We're going to wait, an hour and a half before we see what it is, which is usual. I wouldn't be surprised to see it be a wide receiver. I think maybe Bernard Rahman makes sense here. I'm going to keep saying Devontae Wyatt because he's a freaking hell of a player. And I understand the red flags. Yes, he had the issue with the cops due to family violence or domestic violence of some sort. But in the NFL, that shit never matters. We talk about it on the show all the time. What matters is, can you play and are you going to beat the charges? I guess we can add that to part of it, because if you can, you're going to be on the field, and that's what matters. Pick is in here. Looks like we're about to get it. Drew, if you do get the pick before me, which you probably will, let me know what it says.
Tyler Linderbaum.
Tyler Linderbaum, a center. That's a great pick for them because he can do a little bit of everything. Right now, let me pull back up their depth chart. Right now, they're starting center. I like this kid. He's a hell of a football player. Yeah, he's got the short arms, but I think he overcomes it with his technique. Patrick McCarry is their starting center. Solid player. He's okay, but I think he can play guard as well. I think Linderbaum can be your starting center. You move McCarry out to left guard where he will replace Tyre Phillips, who was maybe average at best, probably best suited for a backup interior offensive lineman role. They do have Kevin Zeitler there. Left tackle is still going to be a need for them unless Ronnie Stanley can really bounce back. But I like this pick. 6'2", 296, 97 pounds. Short arms, but this kid ran an Iowa offense under a pro-style player or pro-style coach in Kirk Ferentz. He'll drive you. He will push you. He is able to pull. He can do a little bit of everything. It is a great pick for a team that runs basically the Baltimore offense the way they do it. Tennessee Titans here at 26. They have traded the pick. They have traded the pick to the Jets, who now have a third first-round pick. Jets are like, hey, all right, we've taken Garrett Wilson. We've taken Sauce Gardner. Is this a spot where, maybe Jermaine Johnson, that edge rusher, finally fits in? Is a spot where we can look at another tackle? Do they go defensive tackle? What do you think the Jets are doing moving up here?
Devontae Wyatt.
I feel like this is, we make fun of ourselves for the Trayvon Diggs thing. But Trayvon Diggs fit so many of these teams, and so many of those teams that year would have loved to have him. And Devontae Wyatt, yeah, I understand he slides, but you know what? Sheldon Rankins wasn't good last year. Not that great at all. I mean, one of the worst, if not the worst, defensive tackles in the league at defensive left tackle. I mean, this is a spot where maybe they add another wide receiver. They're just, hey, let's get more weapons. Maybe
it's weird that they would move up.
Yeah, but I mean, they had 4 picks in the top 38.
Yeah, but what? Move up for what? You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. Like,
maybe this is a Lewis sign. Maybe this is a Jaquan Brisker type move where they're like, hey, let's move up. Maybe it is Devontae Wyatt. Maybe they're adding another guy like Travis Jones. Maybe it's a Sky Moore. Maybe they're adding weapons like that. Maybe it's the corner. Another corner. Why not? You can't have too many corners that are pretty good. But I feel Booth is an outside guy. Maybe it is Booth. I like Booth a lot.
Booth slipped further than I thought he would.
Yeah. He was a guy I thought was pretty damn good, especially at Clemson. But I mean, looking at what they got Sauce Gardner, and then you got DJ Reed, DJ Reed I thought was pretty good last year. We'll see. This is interesting. We'll have to see what they gave up. They're moving into the Titans spot, which is where I had Desmond Ridder going, which would have been my first quarterback. We're still at 1 quarterback taken, which is insane to think about in a draft because usually it's all about the quarterbacks. This year it's been all about edge rushers. It's been all about wide receivers.
Dude, remember when they were talking about the Lions taking Malik Willis at 2?
Yeah. And this guy might be sitting there, when
tomorrow.
They pick a third.
He might be sitting there tomorrow.
I don't remember where their next pick is. It's another second rounder, though, right? 46?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember. I mean,
Okay, I know they have at least 46. They don't have 34 any longer. The Jets super excited about what they're doing. I mean, owner Woody Johnson, who said he was going to be more part of what they did, he's like, hey, I'm on the phone with a guy. Welcome to the New York Jets. The Jets, they've had a good, I mean, Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, excellent picks for them so far. I like what the Jets have done. Joe Douglas continues to get players, but at wide receiver, they got Denzel Mims a couple years ago. Garrett Wilson's one guy. They lost Jamison Crowder. Trying to see who else they got. They got Corey Davis still. Corey Davis wasn't very good for them in the first year. I can see him adding more weapons.
Shocking.
I think eventually they had a tight end. I think Jeremy Ruckert fits them eventually in this draft. But obviously, I don't think here works. Maybe they get that Jermaine Johnson. This is interesting. George Karlaftis is still out there. Who else is out there? We know it's probably not quarterback. Michael Carter worked really well as a running back for him. Maybe they're happy with him. Maybe they go with Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker here.
Wow,
I don't expect to see it.
I mean,
but why not? Get those weapons. Keep building.
I get it, but again, my rule is no first-round running backs.
Yeah, and I understand that because I think you can get most of these guys in the second round.
Again, they're making big moves, and he's about to big old Raj here.
Hey Raj.
Raji's out there. Raji's gonna make a selection here for us.
One thing we do know is no matter who they pick, he's probably getting booed.
Oh yeah,
because that's what Jets fans do. You see Zach Wilson jerseys in the crowd.
Jermaine Johnson, there it is.
Jermaine Johnson, that's a nice pick.
Yeah, I mean,
edge rusher.
Like they've done a nice job.
So you got the corner, you got the wide receiver, you got the edge rusher, which you needed. This is a nice. The Jets have killed this first round. I dig it, and the fit, hideous.
Oh, that fit's not. No, we can't do that. That's not great. It's just not great.
I'm not a fan.
I'm with you.
I mean, maybe it's because it's Steelers colors, and I've been predisposed to like hating those colors. But
I'm gonna go grab a drink of water. I'll be right back.
You enjoy. Jermaine Johnson, the second, out of Florida State. Bartender, water. Solid player. He had a great combine. Jermaine Johnson is a really good football player as far as getting to the passer. That's what you want him to do. That's what he's drafted for. He's an edge rusher. He's about 6'5". He's about 260 pounds. The guy can do the things you want him to do. And can he do more than that? I don't know. He's a solid player. You're going to see what he can do as far as getting to your quarterback, and that's all you're going to ask him to do. I'm not huge on him. I thought he was maybe a second-round pick. I had him picked at 7 in my mock draft, but that was also because, thank you, bartender, that was also because I had a bunch of edge rushers go earlier, and there's always that one guy who goes earlier than you expected. Now, he does an okay job of setting the edge. You're not going to expect him to set the edge on every play. He's going to do okay on that. But he's athletic. He's an athletic freak. He's going to get to the quarterback, and that's really what you want from him. Good player at Florida State. Rose up draft boards, possibly in part due to what he did in the Underwear Olympics, which I will give Dave Huggy Bear Huggins credit for that, saying, but that fit, man, it's just not it. I'm not feeling it. I don't know what those designs are. If it just looks like at first I thought it was a rose, and then maybe it's gold. Is it not yellow? But yeah, he's a solid player, and good for the Jets to get him. They locked up the edge rusher. They locked up the wide receiver. Locked up quarterback last year. Maybe they're really feeling Mekhi Becton is going to bounce back from what he did in 2021, and now you've added Jermaine Johnson the second. So you added another edge rusher to Franklin Myers and Carl Lawson, and now the Jags on the clock at 27. They've traded with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll see what they gave up. This is interesting to see the Jags moving up after they took Trayvon Walker. They're a team that needs, a little bit of everything outside of quarterback. Maybe running back they probably don't need with Travis Etienne and James Robinson there. Their edge rushers are okay. Talked about needing interior help, maybe with Arden Key. This is another spot where Devontae Wyatt makes sense, and I hate to say that name because we're running it into the ground.
Devontae Wyatt. Let's do
But
it.
Andrew Booth, too. Why not with Andrew Booth? I mean, corner helps. Their corners were just okay last year. They've got a corner whose number is 00 in Darius Williams, which Darius Williams was great with the Rams, but wasn't great last year. He was okay.
I'm going to say they take Travis Jones.
Travis Jones? Okay.
That's
Travis Jones. I like that pick. Why not build on your interior? I mean, is this a spot where Bernard Rahman makes sense to move to right tackle and Jawan Taylor's in his last year in his contract and hasn't been that great? And I just remember they got Evan Ingram on that squad.
Stack up on linemen, dude. We talk about it all the time. Stack up on them. You're going to need them.
So back-to-back years with double first-round picks for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last year it was Lawrence and Etienne. This year it's Walker and to be determined. I mean, if you walk out of this first round with Walker and Devontae Wyatt, that's a hell of an upgrade to go with Josh Allen on your defensive line.
Yeah, and not having Urban Meyer as a coach.
Yeah, that helps as well. I mean, Dougie Peterson, he's like, hey, I won a Super Bowl in Philly. Tough place to win, and now my prize is I get to go to Jacksonville with good old Trent Baalke, who is one of a kind, to say the least.
Yep, exactly.
We are here at pick 27. We got 5 more picks to go here. And I'm going to sip on some water here for a second. Drew, what's your favorite pick so far?
Probably Kyle Hamilton to the Ravens.
God, hate to hear that. What's your least favorite pick so far? Not counting Lions.
I don't hate that yet. Well, I got a time process. I don't hate it, but I just don't know how I move up. But I don't know. I don't know what my least favorite pick is. I think potentially my least favorite pick may be the Kyle Pickett to
Pittsburgh?
Yeah, to Pittsburgh. I don't know. I was shocked by that. I don't want to say it's my least favorite. That was the most shocked pick that I had. I guess I would say.
I mean, we talked about it going into this draft that each quarterback was going to be basically picker's choice, where, all these guys, we didn't love any of them. They were all okay. We didn't expect a huge run on quarterbacks. I know a lot of people thought, 5 quarterbacks could possibly go, 4 quarterbacks could possibly go. And neither one of us in our mocks had more than 2. But we know there's still a lot of time left in this draft. It's possible that guys start moving up because that 5th round option is a huge deal.
That was going to be my question to you. Do you think that we see somebody move up between now and 32 to snag Malik Willis or a Sam Howell type player?
Yes. I do absolutely think that happens because as we talk about building teams, those rookie contracts are so massive. And when we talked about at the beginning of the draft, traits over production, you see what these traits are. Malik Willis traits, stunning. He can do a little bit of everything. But production-wise, he wasn't that great. So what are you getting out of Malik Willis? You want to get something out of him where you can get that 5th round pick or 5th round option and slowly develop him and have maybe 1 year where he sits, 4 years where he has a chance to win you a Super Bowl. And then you have to eventually pay him. Because you don't want an A.J. Brown situation where they just traded him.
No, exactly. I mean, if that's the route you want to go, then to your point, that's the way you go. I mean, I would be shocked if that's kind of like the direction that they had, but we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe the Lions move back up from 46. Maybe the Falcons move up and they're like, Marcus Mariota, okay player, but we need to do something here. Malik Willis could be that guy. Devin Lloyd is still out there. Nakobe Dean's still out there. Devontae Wyatt's still out there. We got some really good football players still out there. George Karlaftis, who both of us had, I think, in the top 15 or at least top 20, still out there.
Exactly.
I mean, looking at your mock draft right now that I have pulled up, the
only guy Karlaftis at 12.
Karlaftis at 12, yeah. Booth at 17, Lloyd at 18, Malik Willis at 20, 21 Nakobe Dean. You got a few players out there still. I'm the same way sitting over here. But mock drafts, obviously, this draft of all drafts we said would be more unpredictable than any. You have more players than ever. You have more uncertainty than ever because there wasn't that guy who you're like, this is obviously going to be the first.
No consensus, right? No consensus guy. Absolutely.
There wasn't a Myles Garrett. There wasn't a Joe Burrow. There wasn't a Trevor Lawrence. First time since 2018 we said that there was that one guy who we didn't know. We didn't have that guy, that alpha, that stud. Jacksonville's pick is in. Eventually we will know who it is. Jacksonville can get better everywhere. Andrew Booth makes sense for them.
Devin Lloyd.
Devin Lloyd is the pick. Devin Lloyd will go in. He'll replace basically what they lost with Myles Jack, who moved on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now, you're starting Quarterman and Olucon, who they're just dudes. Devin Lloyd is a stud, and he can be a little bit of everything. I would have taken Nakobe Dean. I like Nakobe Dean better. I understand he's got issues with health, but that Darius Leonard possibility. Darius Leonard, if they redrafted that draft, he would be a top 10 pick probably.
Oh, for sure.
So now we're at 28. Green Bay back on the clock. Green Bay still needs help at wide receiver. Is this the George Pickens spot? Or does George Pickens continue to slide due to off-field issues? And ESPN compares Devin Lloyd to Darius Leonard. They're similar, but I think Nakobe Dean is more of the Darius Leonard type player.
I mean, this one's tough because they have to get him somebody around him.
They do.
Is George I think I could see him going George Pickens here. I think this is more of a reasonable spot for Pickens to go. But I wouldn't be surprised if he slipped down the board even further. But
I wouldn't be either.
I mean, I don't mind taking the risk if you're the Packers.
I mean, Sky Moore fits here as well, and I like Sky Moore. But they took Quay Walker at 22, inside linebacker out of Georgia. I think he's a hell of a football player. I said I was higher on him than most, and actually he went higher than I even expected. I mean, I thought he would be a great pick at 32 for your Detroit Lions. Packers pick is in at 28. This is an interesting spot. Packers have always killed it with second-round picks. I mean, Greg Jennings, Cobb and Devontae Adams, they've killed it at that spot. They haven't taken a first-round wide receiver since, the Nixon administration or something like that. But there's still some solid players here. Andrew Booth still on the board. Why not go there? You've got solid football players. Let me see who else is still there. Wyatt. Daxton Hill makes sense. I mean, Ojabo, why not add another edge who can be a stud and shouldn't have been here at this point? Why not get better? Karlaftis still there, DeMarvin Leal, Jaquan Brisker. I mean, these are all solid things. Craziest thing to see would be them take another corner or quarterback, which I know they're probably not going to do. Why not go for a Sky Moore? Why not go for that wide receiver? Maybe help out. Make sure you get it. Maybe a Boye Mafi makes sense, but get that guy. I mean, you need another guy. Christian Watson can be a guy you throw a dart at and hope he sticks. Christian Watson's got all the talent in the world, but struggles at catching the ball sometimes, and basically developed at North Dakota State into a hell of a football player, but he's not pure yet. He's not that full-on guy you want, but he's not a guy you want with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, again, there had to have been some sort of Aaron Rodgers had to have known that Devontae Adams was going to leave. Like, he had to have known. Because the minute he signed back, Devontae Adams immediately signed with the Raiders.
Yeah. Like, okay. As soon as we saw Devontae Adams say, okay, he's coming back on the franchise deal, no problem. We're like, okay. Him and Aaron Rodgers are coming back together. We thought that's what it was. Even though they posted the Last Dance thing.
Yeah.
They said it all along. Last Dance, it's done. But we couldn't see them coming back without each other. And hell, sure enough, Devontae Adams was like, you know what? Vegas is where I want to be. Derek Carr is my boy. We played at Fresno State together. Let's go there. Speaking of the Raiders, where are the Raiders? Are the Raiders the fourth best team in that division?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, and they are talented. That is a hell of
a
They
are, for
division.
Sure. They're very talented.
Coming up next, we got New England after Green Bay.
What do we think New England's going to do?
I think Nakobe Dean's a great fit there.
I disagree.
Who you
I
like?
just don't know if like Nakobe Dean's like knee injury or whatever it is. What about a Devontae Wyatt?
Drew, you take over for a second. I am going to run to the pisser.
It's definitely wild to me how they continue to not surround Aaron Rodgers with any weapons. And now, when we were talking about no weapons for Aaron Rodgers when Devontae Adams was on the team, so now you don't even have Devontae Adams to take care of the half the defense on the outside. But now you have literally nobody that's going to draw a double team. And so right now this team is vulnerable as ever. And in Aaron Rodgers, there's only so much you can do when you have nobody on the outside. They didn't go and out in free agency and sign anybody. Doesn't look like they're going to draft a wide receiver here. I could be wrong. The pick is in. Let's see what we got. But for me, they have to do something to help. I just don't know if they reach for a receiver here or not. Pick is in. Come on, Goodell. Give it to us. And I'm not saying that receiver here is there's a receiver here that's worthy of this pick, but I'm also saying that they need to do a better job of surrounding Aaron Rodgers in the time that they even have left with him, because we know he's a finicky guy. He'll go do his own thing whenever he feels like it. He'll say, "Oh, I might retire, I might not," and that's just the way it is. But in the meantime, you gotta surround him to try to win. I mean,
A-Rod's just a finicky dude on and off the field. Like,
Exactly.
I might marry you, I might not. Like Danica Patrick, the last chick, Shailene Woodley or whatever. We got a Jack Youngblood jersey in the thing here. Andrew what's his name? I can't think. Whitworth. I almost called him Andrew Booth. Whitworth.
Andrew Booth.
Shiny ass head.
His head is quite shiny. I don't know. Yeah.
Good dude.
I'm with you on that.
NFL Man of the Year.
Yeah, and it just retired fresh off of Super Bowl.
Led by
Matthew Stafford.
Yep.
Yeah. Sick.
And I know it sucks to see Staff go and win a Super Bowl, but I know at the same time you're happy for the dude because he gave you a hell of a run as a quarterback. You had a solid quarterback for a long time.
Oh, for sure. And he's like, it's like he flew all the way. He was at Miggy's 3,000 hit game. Mm-hmm. Like, listen, I love that he won a Super Bowl. I just wish that like we could have had like pick 20 instead of 32.
Yeah, understand.
You know what I mean?
We're going to see what the Packers are doing here. Raj looks happy, and you just know that.
Well, why is that Devontae Wyatt, your boy? Let's go.
Devontae Wyatt is a great pick for them. It's an absolute steal for them. They can do a little bit of everything with Devontae Wyatt. He is a absolute stud. I hope he has a long, great career for them because this kid shouldn't have slid this far. I think he was a top 20 talent. I think he was better than Jordan Davis. And Jordan Davis went super early for that. Devontae Wyatt, excellent. I like the fit. Just simple white tee. Going really classy there. But yeah, great fit for them. New England on the clock. Another Georgia defender makes sense here. We don't have to keep saying Devontae Wyatt like we did with Trayvon Diggs a few years ago, who went 44 overall to the Cowboys. We're not pick 29, 30, 31, and 32. I think 31 is a weird spot here because I thought Kenyon Green or Zion Johnson would be there for the Bengals, and they're not. At 29 for Patriots, I think they could do almost anything. Maybe it's a Maybe it's a defensive lineman they go with, someone we didn't expect. Maybe this is the Drake Jackson pick. We know the the Patriots have struggled drafting lately with some of their first round picks. They did kind of seem to hit on Mac Jones. Devontae White is a disruptor, man. This is a fantastic pick. Going back to that,
hey,
Patriots
nobody
pick
cares.
is in.
Packers suck. Nobody cares about the fucking Bears.
If you had to root for one team in your division other than your Detroit Lions, who would you root for?
The Vikings.
That's what I thought you would say.
Yeah, without even question.
Yeah, I was like, I don't see you rooting for the Bears or the Pack.
I mean, it's only they all beat our ass every year, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, definitely the Vikings.
Yeah, mine's pretty simple too. I mean, I'd definitely just stay in state and root for Cincinnati. Plus, I dig Burrow. I think they're a fun team to watch.
I understand. Still want to beat them, but yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so the pick is in here for the Patriots.
Andrew Booth makes sense too. They did lose J.C. Jackson. I mean,
yeah, J.C. Jackson got paid, dude.
Nakobe Dean works for them. They got a lot of good players sitting here. This is an excellent spot for the Patriots.
I could see Nakobe Dean here.
I mean, maybe it's a Travis Jones. Maybe they get another fat boy. They love their fat boys.
I mean, listen, there's only going to be 3 picks after this. I don't know if there's going to be anybody that's going to move up to get that quarterback. I just don't know if there's that quarterback for any of these teams that they value moving back up to the first round to grab.
And that's great news if you are a San Francisco 49ers fan, Cleveland Browns fan, or you're Baker Mayfield or Jimmy G. Because I think that allows you to eventually trade those guys because you're seeing that these guys aren't valued that high. You know, second, third rounders, they're just eh. And then Malik Willis talk it too, man. There's always that one player who's overhyped, over-talked. And
well, it's just because he was like, he's mobile. He throws a great deep ball, but it's like there's more than 2 elements to playing the quarterback position. Yeah. He struggled at Liberty. He had like 24 touchdowns to 13 interceptions at Liberty.
Yep.
So it's like I get like the hype because like, yeah, you see the tools there, but like you can't just like think that, okay, these things are flashy and whatnot. And we like to see these like that. It's sustainable, like to, you know, convert to the next level.
We're going to wait forever to see who the Patriots pick. I love Nakobe Dean here, but I mean, I've been high on Nakobe Dean as a top 15 pick. I think he's a stud, and they need another guy in that defense to really help them out. I think they could also go wide receiver here. Maybe this is a Sky Moore spot. I don't think it's George Pickens. I don't think he's the kind of guy that, you know, the hoodie wants to deal with right now.
That makes sense. I mean, I do like Nakobe Dean. I think he slipped down the draft board. I think he would have been a higher pick if there weren't concerns with the health. And so I think at this part of the draft, it's not as risky to take a player like that.
Nope.
And I think that he is, again, to your point, a game changer. So would be a great pick. I wouldn't, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if New England did take him.
Yep. And why not also if it was, you know, an Andrew Booth who most expected to be a top 15 pick. We know Khair Elam developed all of a sudden at the end of this draft process was like skyrocketing. A guy who most didn't think would be there. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, hey, by the way, this guy is going to go really, really high. And he did. But they've got a great spot. They can almost pick anything and improve their football team right now. Because they were good last year. They were solid. They were better, I think, than I expected.
Oh, yeah, sure. I agree.
But they've still got room to grow. I mean, this is a year removed from the Tom Brady era, which was obviously hard to walk away from.
Hey, did New England die on the podium? What's the deal here?
I'm not quite sure. I mean, we've had this pick in for what feels like, you know,
hours.
Easily.
Potentially days.
I'm not even sure what day it is right now, bud. I just know it's getting to be way past your bedtime here. And I know that I need to eat something at some point, which I'm going to do as soon as this
I
draft
just
ends.
ate a bunch of chicken wings right on the air. No big deal.
Like, I got to do laundry. I got to do a couple other things here. Let's get it moving, Raj. Come
I
on.
know, like, I mean, does New England? Oh, here we go. Cole Strange.
Hey, you know what I know about that pick?
Strange.
That is an absolute Bill Belichick type pick because Cole Strange, out of Chattanooga, he loves his small town. He loves the small school guys. This is what we know about Bill Belichick. They find guys who don't always make sense, and why not? I mean, he's a small school guy. That's all I can say to you. I know he visited the Dolphins.
I'm with you. I don't know shit about the guy.
There's coaches who this is a guy that coaches love, and they did need help at guard. Cole, I had him. Let me see. I'm gonna go through see if I actually had him in my notes. Let's see how good I am here. I had him as a 3rd round pick. I think he's gonna be okay. I mean, he's got decent arm size. He's strong. I mean, he played for the Chattanooga Moccasins.
Oh, the Moccasins. Yeah.
I mean, we're all big on that.
Solid squad.
He was 2nd team all league at one point, then 3rd team all league. 11 starts at left guard, 5 games at left guard or at center. He can play anywhere interior. He's a solid football player. We did say before this pick, there's always that one guy who sneaks into the first round that you didn't expect. And this one was definitely strange. Haha, his name as well. Chiefs, the pick is in at 30. The Chiefs.
Karlaftis.
Karlaftis is the guy?
Yep. Karlaftis is the guy. It's a good pick.
George Karlaftis. I like that pick for them. This is a guy who some saw as a top 15. Others saw as a top 50 pick. Karlaftis is a guy out of Purdue. He put up 6 sacks, but on a defense that really wasn't phenomenal. They were just okay. Right. And he was mainly the guy that guys focused on. He looked like he just stayed true to himself. Like he wasn't rocking anything fancy. It was just a straight up, okay, I'm going to go with the basic, traditional kind of suit.
I feel like that's a defensive
stayed within
line.
himself.
Yeah.
Karlaftis sets the edge okay. He's a solid rusher off the edge. Pick is in already for the Bengals. We'll see when this gets in. All of a sudden, they're like, hey, we're going to throw in a bunch of picks. This is another spot where I think Bernard Rahman makes sense. I hate to keep going to that name, but I liked him as a first-round pick. I thought he worked his ass off at the Senior Bowl. Back to Karlaftis, high motor guy. He's exactly what you hear about a random white guy from Purdue.
Loves the
game. Good football player.
Super focused.
Gamer.
He's got a lunch pail kind of guy.
He's definitely shown up day one with a lunch pail.
Yeah, first to show up, last to leave kind of guy. Yeah.
I hate to say it, but it's kind of exactly who he is. He's just a solid football player. And I'll take that. Why not? At that spot, fitting what they need, he's going to the Chiefs. Hell yeah.
You can't have enough solid football players.
No. Especially when you're just trying to squeeze guys in under the salary cap when you got guys like Chris Jones, who got guys like, Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes. That's what you got to do. And the Chiefs just keep doing it. I mean, why not? Solid Big Ten football player. Pick 30. I had him in top 20. You had him at pick 12. This is a good pick for them. I'll deal with it.
Yeah, 12 pick is in. 12 seemed aggressive, apparently.
I mean, I saw guys with him in the top 5, top 7. So, it wasn't too aggressive. Bengals need help in the interior offensive line. And I had Kenyon Green going here. He's gone. Zion Johnson already gone. Cole Strange already gone, who I had as a 3rd round pick. This is a spot where we know they're probably not going wide receiver. I think they need to add a tight end at some point. I think they do, but this isn't the spot, in my opinion. That makes sense.
You don't even know where they go here.
They could go corner. This is another spot for Andrew Booth. We know they're not going to quarterback. Joe Burrow is pretty damn good. Maybe this is a spot for Sign or Brisker. Jesse Bates was good. Von Bell is okay. Maybe it's another spot for Nakobe Dean. They did get Wilson, who is very good, but outside of him, I mean, Davis Gaither and Pratt are just average. Travis Jones makes sense. They did lose former Cleveland Brown and former Charlotte great Larry Ogunjobi in the offseason, who signed with the Chicago Bears only to be let go after failing a medical issue or a physical. But they could go there. This could be a spot for Travis Jones. It could be, I mean, they could go almost anywhere in this pick and know that the Cincinnati Bengals were in the damn Super Bowl, dude.
It's true.
Cincinnati Bengals.
It's a good point. That's a good point. And the thing that, not only that, is the year before they won like 2 games.
Yep.
Like, so like the teams like the Lions and the Browns that have been rebuilding your entire lives, there's no excuse. In the NFL, there's so much parity that it doesn't take 4 years or 5 years to rebuild your team.
No, and this is proof that, hey, I know that Cleveland Browns fans love Baker Mayfield, and he was great. He did turn things around for us, but you need to get that quarterback position right. And if he wasn't the guy, if they didn't feel that was the guy, Deshaun Watson is better than Baker Mayfield. Joe Burrow, absolute stud. Look what he did. Look how he turned that thing around.
Yep.
You find your quarterback, you got a hell of a shot. Looking at my board right now, Andrew Booth, best available. Trying to see who else is still there. Nakobe Dean, Daxton Hill still available.
Yeah, I like Daxton Hill a lot, to be honest with you.
Yep, and I could see that pick. David Ojabo makes a lot of sense here if they want to wait.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Njabo. Like, you're getting a really, really good player. You're just going to have to wait it out.
Yep.
Because of the injury and the pro day or whatnot. But again, was a really solid player.
Lewis Sign still available. Boye Mafe. Jalen Petrie still available. I mean, they could go almost anywhere here. And we just know they're not going quarterback, most likely.
Yeah. So this is kind of this is going to mean like one quarterback was taken.
Yeah,
I think,
unless the Vikings trade the next pick, or unless the Vikings are like, you know what,
Kirk Cousins sucks.
Kirk Cousins is what he is. Why not give a chance to Malik Willis? We know Kevin McConnell, a new head coach there, different regime, different era. Why not get that 5th round option? You're not going to pay the guy a ton. You're going to get a chance to see what he can be. I mean,
yeah, no, I'm with you.
Jameson Williams. Did you know the
shot?
Yeah. Did you know Jameson Williams and Jeff Okudah were teammates at Ohio State? I didn't realize they could cross paths. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think Jameson Williams is what, like a freshman?
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, sick. Very cool.
But I just saw Okudah did welcome his new teammate to Detroit.
That's awesome. Welcome, Jameson Williams.
Bengals pick is in and has been in for a while, but we won't know who it is for a short amount of time.
Are these actually dropped down from that Goodyear blimp? Is that why it takes it so long for like when it's to say the pick is in?
Listen,
is it dropped from that blimp or what's the scenario there? I'm not certain.
We love the draft, bud, but like it was in Cleveland last year, not far from either one of us, and we didn't go. Like, yeah, it was a weird year with COVID and all that, and
but it's just like takes way too long.
And then it's coming to Detroit, and I'm like, oh, that'd be fun. And, I had a good time last time I was in Detroit. Maybe I'd go there, but I don't know if I could stand there and wait this whole time.
Yeah,
like
especially since like you know what, like it's like 32 degrees out right now.
Yeah, and I don't care about all the shit in between. Like this is fun because we're just talking to them, going back and forth. We're giving it a little bit of analysis. We're talking about random outfits. We're talking about what could happen, what should happen.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's like, let's go, Raj. We got shit to do.
I know. It's like, yeah, I got, I still have to work, Raj. Just so you know.
Raj is like, I make $38 million, bud. I don't really care about any of you.
Yeah. I don't care about you peasants that have to work your 9 to 5. That's fine, Raj.
I am grateful for this show, and I hope everyone who's been watching has enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Thank you to Bobby for joining the show.
Yeah, that was.
We got 2 more picks left, and
one of them's in right now, and Raji's calling it.
Is Raji ready?
Raji,
go ahead and announce this pick.
This is going to be Daxton Hill.
It's a good pick for them. We did say safety makes sense.
Good player.
Von Bell from Ohio State. not as good anymore as Daxton Hill from Michigan. Daxton Hill is a nice, solid football player. Can do a little bit of everything. Basically, a poor man's Kyle Hamilton. You're going to get Kyle Hamilton type stuff, just not to that same extent. But 2 good safeties picked up in the AFC North, and now we are down to our final pick here. It is number 32. It is the Minnesota Vikings, who did acquire the pick from Drew's Detroit Lions. Malik Willis is Mel's best available. Mine is Andrew Booth and Nakobe Dean. They're about the same on my board here, ranking-wise. I'm a big Nakobe Dean fan. I've said it a million times. Vikings pick is in already, which means this draft should end sometime between 3 a.m. But I like Daxton Hill because he can play slot, he can play inside, he can play outside, he can play deep safety.
Versatile. He's versatile player.
Absolutely versatile. And in a league that is moving to passing, in a league where you're facing quarterbacks or a division where you're facing, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, this is the kind of player you need. I mean, AFC North has got good quarterbacks.
Maybe Deshaun Watson.
Maybe. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, when this suspension comes in, it's going to be 6 games. They will appeal. It will be 4 games. He will miss the first month of the season. Breaking news in here to the Full Coverage Football Show. Just telling you what's going to happen because that's how these things work. Right. Congratulations to a second Michigan player drafted in the first round. David Ojabo would have been the third had he not hurt himself in pro day practice, warm-ups, whatever you want to call it. Congratulations to him. 3 Ohio State wide receivers, basically 10, 11, 12, are 3 guys who were at Ohio State at one point. Big deal for them. Purdue player going nice for the Big Ten. They did solid. SEC also, obviously, always there. Pac-10 had, 3 players picked? Trent McDuffie, Drake London, Kayvon Thibodeau. Yeah, solid. Georgia and SEC killing it more so than anyone, it looks like.
Georgia.
ACC had, Jermaine Johnson? Boston College, Zion Johnson. Yeah. It's been interesting how it's bounced around. Pac-10, Utah as well, so 3.
Looks like Vikings picks in.
Okay, Vikings are in. This will finish off the first round of the NFL draft. Tampa Bay starts out with 33, then Minnesota at 34. My Cleveland Browns do not pick until pick 44. Who is the pick, Drew? Who's ending this night for
Andrew Booth?
Andrew Booth, I like that pick because I said at 12 they need another corner after letting Jeff Gladney go. Andrew Booth would be a great fit here. Do they surprise everyone and take a quarterback? What are the odds on that?
Like 2%.
2%?
Yeah.
Like my milk, baby. Like my milk.
Just like your milk, dude.
We're at 3 hours, 33 minutes of live coverage here on the Full Coverage Football Show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This is available anytime you want to watch it on our Facebook page, our Twitter pages, at Some Real CLE, at Detroit Dave 7. Also on YouTube, which you can find anytime. This will not be available as a pod because if you can sit and listen to this for a full 4 hours almost, we fucking love you. But at the same time, you're fucking crazy.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it myself.
You already know what happened. Yeah, are we fun? Yes. Are we entertaining? Abso-freaking-lutely. Do we thank Bobby for joining us and hitting 5 picks in a row? Abso-freaking-lutely.
He was on a heater.
He was killing it. And now we got Skull to finish it up. I couldn't tell if that was a man or a woman there. And what is going on there? A lot of purple going on. Yes, we're cheering, having a great time. I need to eat something. We are finishing the NFL draft. We got to work tomorrow. Let's see what's going on. Vikings party is lit. Look at that. They're having a great time there.
They do seem to be enjoying themselves.
Oh, they're having a great time.
Yeah, you're right.
Filming them stuff.
Yeah, certainly.
Johnny Unitas jerseys, random ass jerseys. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
We got a 68-year-old cheerleader having a great time. This is what matters, folks. And we got some guy with a baby Yoda on his. I've never seen a Star Wars movie. I couldn't tell you what is going on there.
You've never seen a Star Wars movie?
Never seen a Star Wars movie.
Huh. I mean, I'm not a huge Star Wars person, but you should probably watch them.
I'm eventually going to give it a chance.
I mean, I'm not. Again, I'm not a big. I'm not gonna be like, oh no, you need to start.
You're a
from
horrible human being.
You
How
need
have
to
you
start
not
from the
seen?
Hobbit, and the Moon, or whatever. Like, I don't know any of their names, but it's not bad. All right, Raj, what do you got for us?
Where you at, Raj? Hey, Raj. Hey, Raj. Let's take care of some shit here. We got work to do, boy. Raj is there. It is the final pick of the first round. Live from Vegas. Raj has been wearing that chain all night, or did I? You see that thing? It's like Flava Flav coming out here.
No, I don't think he had.
Raj Flava Flav Goodell, the final selection of the first round of the NFL draft. It is Lewis Sign, another Georgia defensive player.
That's another cash. That's another check for me.
Hell
I had him
yeah.
as the last pick of the draft.
You did have him
for
as the last pick. Nice job. We'll go over our stuff at another time.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of fun. That is it. Nakobe Dean is my top player available going in tomorrow with Tampa Bay picking 33rd, then Minnesota, then Tennessee. The whole top of the second round exchange due to trades. This has been a fun draft, brother.
For sure.
I think it's time we say goodnight.
All right.
Anything else you want to get off your chest before we get out of here, as I always ask you?
Nope, that'll do it, man. It was fun.
All right. With then, we have covered the entire NFL draft first round. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you watching. Remember, as always, if you live the life you love the life you live. Night, kids.